Happy 2020 TCMs. I'm hoping that everybody has their TCM agreement. I'm going to be saying that a few times throughout this program or training, so we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Laura Uggen. I'm the product program manager statewide. I oversee our product program specialists and our admin for the state. We have product program specialists that are out of Loveland, which is Julie Gallagher. We have Denver that has Kendra and also Kyle. And then who I said was on tonight, Mary Ann out of Grand Junction. And then we have Melissa who oversees Pueblo and Colorado Springs. So we have product program specialists across the state. Our team also has Shannon, who has created our great slides and all of our training materials and keeps us going. She is our product program design manager. Nick Johnson is our logistics manager. He keeps our cookies going to our cupboards, to our delivery sites, and makes it possible for us to make the program happen. And then our matriarch of the group is Rochelle, our product program director. So we are a robust team of 11 of us, and the COO also with us of 12. So I'm going to start right off. I'm going to assume you can see my new slide that says promise and law. Can I get a yes from somebody out there? Perfect. Thank you, everybody. And I appreciate your patience. Whenever it's these online trainings, we're all kind of learning together. And we're up to over 70 participants. So I think the majority of us found our way in and have figured this out. Everything that we do always sits behind our Girl Scout mission and the promise and the law. And I cannot encourage any of you enough to not only uphold it for yourselves throughout the program, it keeps yourself sane, but to also remind the parents of the promise and law and what we're doing with the girls, and reminding the girls that throughout this program, when they want to be the one who's holding that sign or bringing in that extra sale or doing the money, that they need to also be honest and fair with the other girls and considerate to how somebody else is learning. So we, throughout the whole program, always try to remind that the promise and law is the fundaments of what we do and what we stand by. It's the mission. Our next slide is going to go into what is new. Right now, what is new, you all know it, it's the Lemon Ups. This training was designed for starting in December, and that was supposed to be, nobody was supposed to know the certain name, but we all can jazz and jump up for Lemon Ups. It's our new Girl Scout cookie that's in the lineup this year, and that is one of the most exciting things that we're, I think, happy. Oh, I guess it's dependent upon who you ask, but it's one of the most fabulous parts for the girls. I know everyone loved the Savannah Smiles from years past, but now we have the Lemon Up cookie, which we are excited for. This is a beautiful little Daisy Girl Scout holding that new package, number 1. This is a lineup of all of our cookies. And this is also in the TCM Manual throughout the pages, so you can see all the difference of the cookies and the ingredients inside. What you will notice on this picture for everyone online is that there are 2 soft packages. One is the Lemon Up cookie and the other is the s'mores. The other one are in a cardboard package. So we'll talk about cookies more as we go along. Another new thing is the snap filter. So if anybody's a Snapchat, I got my first Snapchat going over here. It makes you look very youthful. You can make it so you have no wrinkles. It's amazing. So there is this new Snapchat filter. I will tell you that it is not free. So there is a fee that is associated with it, but we know that girls will really be excited to go ahead and use this. There in the TCM manual, there is a page for this on page 7. That will kind of go over more details for you. Other news that is exciting. See, ladies, when I hesitate like that, I'm reading that chat box. So thank you, Marianne, for helping over there. Other exciting news is we really do listen to your feedback. We send out different surveys throughout. We ask the girls to let us know what worked and didn't work. We have our cookie action report that lets us know, hey, I didn't like this reward. We really listen to the girls. So now we are going to see more of a diverse selection of reward choices. I can't wait to show you that further along, in addition to the new S'mores Club changes this year too. eBuddy has a new look. If you were in it last year and this is your second year as a TCM, you'll know it's more bubbly and fun colors and easy. It's very user-friendly, so we are excited about the new changes there. We did open up more booth options that are not only just at a My Sale, that would open up from the My Sale, but more council booth selections that start on February 2nd. Again, if you were here last year, our council booths did not start until about the second week, usually around February 15th. was when our council boost would start. So now we've opened it up from February 2nd, allowing the program to have more support early on. The Cookie Entrepreneur Family Pin is brand new, kicked off from GS USA. This is going to take place from the cookie pin that traditionally just changes color throughout the years and has some basic guidelines of what to do. This will go more in depth following our 5 skills. Cookie Captains. We did have Cookie Captains last year, but we have revamped it to really make it more robust and statewide. The online learning platform for GSUSA has changed, and also for Girl Scouts of Colorado. We now have the GS Learn, so if you haven't gotten into that, please do so. We always upload other cookie trainings throughout the program that can be useful resources for you. Also, we have the webinars, which you are on, but there will be others coming on tomorrow. I was gonna say this Thursday, tomorrow, we will be doing an eBuddy, just the IO and the kickoff, like what to be doing now in the beginning. So please keep a lookout for those, especially if you get this training today. We're gonna go through so much. By the time we get down to slide 130, you're gonna really maybe be zoned out for the eBuddy closing. And if for any reason you think that you might have questions, you can always sign up for the webinar. So you can go right on to how you signed up for this one on the Girl Scouts of Colorado website underneath the calendar and select for the eBuddy closeout trainings. That will give you the week of and the week before support to make sure you're right on track to close out. We had just briefly spoke about the cookie captains, and I want to go over just a little bit more so you understand what a cookie captain is in case you get lucky enough to have a girl support you. The product program specialist will work directly with these key volunteers and the older girls. Cookie captains may volunteer with service unit activities, including and not limited to training, delivery, day drops, assistant with troop trainings, planning cookie rally supports, helping daisies and brownies at booths. Cookie captains don't only just earn a Girl Scout level into Girl Scouting award, but they can also earn school hour volunteers or community service that would be needed for them. So we're still accepting applications underneath that Girl Scout cookie site, and you can go ahead and fill those out if you know any girl who does have cookie experience and might want to be mentoring the younger Girl Scouts. Troop cookie manager responsibilities and key dates with communications. I think what's going to be important about this is I'm hoping that all of you have already understood the TCM agreement and had filled it out. So this might be redundant for you if you have already done so. Down here on the bottom right side of this slide, you can see the actual Girl Scout website where you would go up onto the tab where it says forms to fill out the TCM agreement or also the ACH authorization form. So just so you know where to get those forms at. The TCM role is 1 year in that you really are there to work directly with the girls, families, and troop volunteers to provide the cookie program information, training, and support. This role really helps the girls learn the 5 skills: goal setting, decision making, money management, people skills, and business ethics. By the end of this training, I think you'll see how each one of those 5 different skills fit into the program and how the girls can benefit from it, and even ourselves sometimes. I don't want to read it word for word, but I do want to make sure that we all know that we are there for your service unit cookie managers are there for or support, your volunteer support specialists are, along with the product program specialist and any of us on the cookie team. We do require that you have a computer and you have internet access and a phone, as all of our stuff does go through this eBuddy database, and those are requirements. So even if you don't have it at your home, you can get to a library or something of the nature, or even utilize some of us other Girl Scout resources. We need you to communicate proactively and seek resolution on conflict. So if something's happening, please communicate with anybody that is needed, so that way then we can make sure we get a solution immediately. Oh, I love that, Jenny. You are not rude. I'm so happy you're in Hawaii and jumping into this. This training for everybody is supposed to be 3 hours. I talk really fast if you haven't caught on. We're going to skip on and keep going through this, but if you all have questions at the end, we can definitely go into more detail. So as we're just going through, but I'm anticipating hopefully within 2.5 hours at the most we'll go through. Core responsibilities, I'm really just submitting that order, making sure you're taking the training. You guys are already there. Training your families That is the most important, not only just the girls, but the families to work with you. And we'll talk about a lot of this further. We need you to adhere to all of our deadlines and make sure that you're keeping accurate records for the girls throughout the program from receipts and distribution of the cookies. You will also be in charge of arranging for rewards and distributing those too at the end, along with making sure that all of your written communications, including your telephone conversation, emails, text messages, and electronic social medias, do not contain any profanity and condescending remarks. I know that we have that in there for a reason. Some of you are probably sitting there saying, seriously. Yes, we want to make sure that when something just really upsets you and gets your feathers in a bunch, that you definitely remain calm, take that breather, and utilize us as your support to help you get through that. We are here for you. There is that financial responsibility that goes along with this role too, which is very critical. And that one is most important when you're checking out these cookies. As Girl Scouts of Colorado, we are checking out these cookies on good faith that they are paid for at the end of the program. What is important with that is that you follow along and make sure that you're collecting all the records. Anybody, you're writing out all the receipts, making sure that parents are signing for it. I mean, we will go over receipts further along. If somebody takes a cookie from you, they sign for a cookie. If somebody brings money in, you give them a receipt that they brought money in. And the sooner you put that in eBuddy, the better off that memory of the transaction is, nothing getting lost, and having those good records. So we cannot say enough on how important it is to keep count, and keep those signatures going. So we do have money problem reports that if there is any issues that happen, and we'll discuss that further along, that we're here to support you. I want to give the people online a second to read too. We want to make sure that we're always abiding by the Girl Scout promise and law. That is why we started out with that. That is, again, what we adhere to in everything that we do. We want you to serve as an example for the girls by modeling positive attributes such as reliability, respect for others, inclusiveness, and having a positive attitude. That means when you're out shivering at the booth in the cold, because the girls really want to be out there and freeze their thin mints off, that you're out there smiling with them. It's hard to do some of those nights, but ladies, I've been there too, and gentlemen, we hold that smile for them. Our ethics is something that we are definitely committed to at the highest possible standards of ethical and moral business conduct. The Girl Scouts of Colorado Cookie Program and the Fall Product Program give Girl Scouts the opportunity to learn new skills, to promote Girl Scouting, and to live by the Girl Scout promise and law. This opportunity comes with the responsibility to follow safety, media regulations, and business ethic guidelines. As a volunteer for the Girl Scouts of Colorado, you are accepting the responsibility to assist Girl Scouts in implementing business ethics by setting a positive example through your actions, words, and deeds that mirror the standards of Girl Scout promise and law. I hope that we have beat that into the thought of what could go wrong. Nothing. We're going to uphold to all of that and be happy and positive this year, like always. I'm smiling through that because I did quite a few years of volunteering in Girl Scouting, and you never know what curveball is going to be thrown at you during a cookie program. I think you guys are all on the right track because right now we're taking the required volunteer training. So as it says, awesome, pat yourselves on the back. This is half the battle, right? Taking the time just to get through it. As we continue to go through everything, this right here is actually on page 6 for the cookie season preps and tips in your TCM manual. So if you want to kind of go back to a checklist that's more in depth, I would definitely recommend going to the TCM guide, as there is a lot more that goes over timelines and deadlines and stuff too. So make sure that you have all your current troop bank account information with all signers and the account are up to date. We do not allow you to pick up cookies unless you have a TCM agreement approved and an ACH approved. So just because you submitted a TCM agreement does not mean it's approved. We have to have current membership and background check. And then in addition to us approving that Troop Cookie Manager TCM agreement, the troop must have an ACH on file. So the ACH just doesn't get approved because somebody submitted it. It not only has to be accurate with all the proper information, but the 2 authorized people on that account must be background checked and have current membership too. So we just have to do a little bit of our due diligence on the back end. So if some of you are wondering why you don't have eBuddy access, that could be a possibility if you're stuck in one of those limbos. So make sure as soon as you get an eBuddy, you're checking that troop roster to make sure that the girls in your troop are accurate and that everybody is active. You don't want girls who are not active, as some of our incentives are based on the actual girls registered in your troop. Collaborate with your troop leadership team and coaching the girls to discuss goals, and that will help you with your initial order in the beginning. And as I said earlier, one of the most important things to do is set your guidelines with your family. So have a family meeting in January, even if it's right after the initial order, because you can't get it in before then. Meeting with the family allows them to know your expectations, guidelines, communication styles, and support needed amongst so many other things. So please make sure that you meet with the family, possibly create a group agreement so that everyone is clear on what the expectations of contribution to the cookie program is, because the only way we can keep you as a TCM is by good support in the troop. Training is mandatory for any girl and caregiver who is choosing to sell cookies, and so we are expecting you as a TCM to bring that down to their level. If you need extra support for that training, you can always reach out to your service unit cookie manager in your area, and they will connect you with an experienced TCM and advise you on how they can help. Sometimes the best thing is getting another volunteer in there to help you, or even just another older Girl Scout to come and have fun, like one of those cookie captains, to have fun with the girls while you are training with the parents, or even just breaking it down to the girl level. Use that troop training checklist guide that I had mentioned on page 6. That is a great reference for what you need to be doing. Communication is critical, and what starts first is that girl and caregiver communicate with you directly as the troop cookie manager. You handle as many conflicts, questions, things that are needed directly with them, and that if you have any questions as the troop cookie manager, you then go to our service unit cookie manager. All of you have one for your service unit. If for any reason you don't have a service unit cookie manager, there might be a staff volunteer, and that's why the volunteer support specialist is also highlighted on the left side. If for any reason you can't get a hold of one of those two, there's always your product program specialist, one of those women that I had mentioned earlier in the training. Pretty cut and dry when we keep it all pretty and colorful. So really, TCMs, you have peers that you can rely on. That is how we survive. I don't think I ever would have made it in Girl Scouting if it wasn't for my Girl Scout sisters. When you have questions or need assistance, contact your service unit cookie manager in your area. They will help you with every phase of the cookie program and managing your inventory, parents, the unknowns, and just, we could not give you enough tips and tricks. That's why it is a community that keeps us going. But this is just another screen to see the flow. Cookie rallies are one of the best times for you to connect with not only other adult volunteers, but also to get the girls really excited about the program. At the cookie rallies, we really focus on those 5 skills. Those 5 skills are really the fundament of the cookie program, making sure that girls understand how to communicate with customers, that they are able to follow all the safety guidelines, who to talk to, what to say, just understanding the cookies. Really, rallies are one of the best things that you can go to. For myself, because other people run it and do the activity, you get a free patch, why not, right? But if for any reason you can't find a cookie rally, if your service unit isn't hosting one, you can go on the Girl Scout website under events, and there is a lot of rallies open up to anybody to come to. Or you can also, as it states here, go to cookies resources on the website, and there's the rally oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, a rally guide for you to use with your troop. That is fun activity. So you don't have to go to a rally, you can bring the rally to your troop meeting. Key dates. We will say it, we will remind you, we'll say it again. We can never say it enough that mind the dates. Deadlines are critical. That initial order is the next one that's coming up. That was a lie. The first deadline that's coming up is January 10th. This Friday is the roster cleanup. So if you have anybody on your roster that is not active in your troops, when you open up eBuddy and you look underneath your girls, on the girls tab, if there is any girls that are not participating in your troop, you need to let your volunteer support specialist know immediately. We need to remove those girls, and it has to be submitted to us by end of business day on January 10th for us to remove those girls, so it does not affect your initial order rewards. And that is the next deadline on January 13th is your initial order rewards are due. And that is critical, because at that point, if for any reason there's errors, we have 2 days, as you can see, for your service unit cookie manager to help us clean it up, and we submit it through. And we cannot make changes once it goes in. All of the dates are in the manual on page 8. There's a lot of them. I really recommend, I usually take a screenshot of that picture and just carry that with me. So just making a screenshot of the user guide, and that way then I can carry it in my purse or wherever I want, right, with me without having to actually carry the physical paper. And that way then I know the dates in hand. The program does end on March 8th, but what is important is that if you have any money issues, that the money problem reports are due by March 13th. And we will discuss a little bit of what could be a money problem issue or anything of that nature. So even though the cookie program closes out and ends on March 8th, there is still a few days where troops close out in the eBuddy and clean it up, and then the service units close out. And this is what you'll see here on this slide. You might hear, as I just said, close out, you might hear locked out. And that really does not mean that eBuddy is locked in any sort of way. It just means it's locked on certain dates for certain items that you're able to do. So you need to be mindful of all of our deadlines as we do lock out certain things, but it does not mean that eBuddy is closed for you to use. You can still even go in and view your sales reports and needed information. If your TCM agreement is not approved so you can't see your roster, this is a question that comes up, right? That stress of that January 10th. We feel it on the product program department side too. Usually we will do a big push to throw in anybody who has a TCM agreement in, meaning that if you're still missing a membership, we might put you in and just hold through to getting your ACH, whatever is needed, just so we can get your roster checked. Also, your service unit cookie manager sometimes helps out with that, where if you contact them, they can let you know who's on the roster along with your volunteer support specialist. But get that TCM agreement done. If you get it in tonight, tomorrow we keep approving and going through them, and you should be in by that Friday, and let us know. But it puts you up to that crunch time. So please work closely. If you aren't in, work with your volunteer support specialist. They're the best one to make sure that you're in. Thank you, Marianne. You're awesome. Everybody will be getting training materials. You will be getting family guides, order cards, money envelopes, door hangers, receipt books, a TCM manual, eBuddy quick sheet, sample package of the limit ups. So every troop does get one sample packet of limit ups. So how do you get this? How do you know where to go to? What do you do? Your service unit cookie manager will have it. And if for any reason you don't have a service unit cookie manager, your product program specialist and your volunteer support specialist are going to be working on getting that to you. You go ahead. So a question that popped up is that if you have a girl who wants to sell cookies, but she's not online yet, that she still can get uploaded after she registers. So if she's not showing up right now, when she registers, it will still go into your troop. So it's more or less of girls that are in your troop right now that we want to remove out. Girls can always join in throughout the program, but what we don't do is transfer girls from troop to troop. So if it's a new Girl Scout membership, she can join into your troop. If a girl is in a different troop in a different town, she's going to have to sew with that troop until the end of the cookie program. So that is a bit of a difference. Felicia, for your service unit cookie manager, possibly if you put your name in your troop, Marianne can pop that up for you and let you know who your service unit cookie manager is, or reach out to your volunteer support specialist and we'll get you connected. Your volunteer support specialist is always your go-to. When in doubt, they'll help you figure it out. Oh man, I might just coin that. Okay, back to it, ladies. Sorry, I'm working the chat with you all, so you know, in case one of those questions that are coming through the chat are relevant for everybody. Always go back to the Girl Scout resources. If it's not in our TCM guide, it is going to be on our website, and we try to make sure everything is on there. So if you want to print extra things, they're there for you, even from the rally book and things of that nature, fun little tidbits and guides, extra order cards and so forth. So it's all there. And also when you're in eBuddy, there's a drop down tab at the top that allows you to have Little Brownie Baker materials also, which is really great. Need to know. What is it? What do we need to know? Our girls, their families, and their customers. I told you, those parents are extremely important that we keep them in the loop with us. I apologize. I have a different slide going up and it's changing. So I want to make sure I'm on the same trains with you. Girl Scouts is rich in history and traditions. I say you haven't heard it before, that some of us Girl Scouts bleed green. I am one of them. I absolutely love every single thing about Girl Scouts and Girl Scout history. And our cookie program does not have any gaps of that. We're over 100 years strong making cookies. So 5 years after we started is when girls first started to make cookies, and it was that traditional trefoil sugar cookies. And to even think that back in the 20s that it was 25 cents makes you think of back when gas was under $1 per gallon, right? So we have that history, and that designs of the packagings have changed. Selling of the cookies remains an important part of the Girl Scout program. I cannot speak highly enough about the program, so from my own experience. So we want to make sure that everyone understands what you get out of it. You can hear me over here getting giddy, which is the excitement. We are now on page 9 of the TCM Manual also, just so if you are following along. The Girl Scouts really that sell, they get all those 5 skills. And I always use that example of sometimes you have those Daisy Girl Scouts that all jump to that booth and they're all excited and everybody wants to work the money and I want to get the customer in and I want to, stack the table. And I think as they continue to grow and learn all about the sale itself, themselves, and what their strengths are, you'll slowly see that you have a junior Girl Scout troop out there where they've kind of worked together for a few years and they're going to let little Sarah make those signs because she's really good at that marketing. And you know what? If Maddie's good at money, let Maddie go ahead and take care of it, right? And Melissa has those really great chants. She brings them on in. They start to learn to work together and get those skills and acknowledging each other's skills and working as a team. We just can't speak highly enough about what all that they get out of this cookie program. So I hope that in your years that you grow with the troop that you can, hopefully you can hear my smile, think of the memories that you get with the girls and just how priceless it is. We know that our GSUSA CEO, Silvia Acevedo, also believes firmly in the Girl Scout program, that selling Girl Scout cookies changed my life forever, she has said, because it taught me that I could create my own opportunity. This is at the core of every entrepreneurship experience at Girl Scouts. Through the program, I have learned fundamentals of entrepreneurship skills, life making a business plan, how you handle money, how you treat customers, and how you break down goals into achievable steps. Oh, that's priceless. These skills I've used throughout my professional life. So I know that more girls learning these skills and early in life means more female business leaders and entrepreneurs. So Silvia Acevedo is definitely our shining star. She is the pillar for us in just that goal, and knowing what she's been able to do and her words of encouragement are always great. We did discuss a little bit earlier this cookie entrepreneur pin. This is different than in years past. Families are an important part of the element of the fundamental of Girl Scouts and leadership experience. And they also play a key role in supporting the girl cookie business. Girls often prepare for the cookie program through their troop by earning financial literacy and cookie business badges as they gain the 5 skills. Again, that goal setting, decision making, money management, people skills, and business ethics. We recognize that girls often participate in these skills at home too. And as the Girl Scouts sell cookies with support from their families, this new pin will encourage families to be there for the girls and develop the 5 skills. That is on page 10. So I was like, what is my page? I want to make sure I can quote it right. So page 10 is where you can find that in the TCM guide and information about it. And again, that is all on our Girl Scout website too. The structure of the new Cookie Entrepreneur Family Pin, that there are 6 sets of requirements for these pins for the girls to earn them. You can see on page 11 the earn while you learn that goes over from the daisies, the brownies, juniors, and all the way through and what they're doing to get it. So remaining pins will be available if you have like the old cookie activity pins at the local shops. But as we know, if you were in last year and they're gone. So they were a little diagonal kind of diamond in a way. So when they're gone, they're out. But you can purchase these new pins at the Girl Scout shop. And we like that they grow with the girls throughout the years. Why do girls sell cookies? People might say, so the girls can make money to travel, which is, I think, one of the #1 reasons why anybody in my troop would have wanted to do it. So they could go to camp. We want to go to horse camp. We want to travel. We had the troop who everybody wanted to do community service. So really, there's the purpose behind it and what the girls are getting and what the program brings to them from the troop proceeds, the girl rewards, and the actual entrepreneurship that they get. But what's important for you all to think about is what is your troop going to do with the cookie program proceeds? And not only just you discussing it as a TCM and troop leadership team, communicating with the girl what their goals are, and then bringing it back to the family so they feel included in that decision and moving forward. You might use the money for service or take action projects. As I said, that was one of my favorites for my Girl Scouts. Purchasing troop supplies, that could even be the uniforms, even just that registration for the girls so that within their membership's always ongoing growing and taken care of as they continue to grow through Girl Scoutings. Awards, recognitions, and then those fun special events, field trips, and outings that are honestly the top of the list for all of my girls. I'm sure a lot of yours too when they start to look at the order cards. What have you learned in Girl Scouts, or what would you like about Girl Scouts, really are the questions that we get. And it's really the stories. As you can see how quick I jumped into those stories to tell you. And it's really what they've learned and how Girl Scouts rich their own lives. And we really hope that through the cookie program that it brings those kind of stories to the girls, to the families, and out in the community. Even the youngest girls involved is never old enough to tell her Girl Scout story. We just thank you all for what you're doing to help make these girls into young little women that will hopefully someday find their own strength through entrepreneurship. I'm going to keep on going through with our TCM manual. We're on to page 13 if you are following along with me. I've got a few sticky notes in my manual. I don't know about any of you if you haven't gotten in your manual yet. Mine is definitely used, written in, bent backwards, utilized like crazy. It's my reference. Safety first in everything that we do. Make sure that when you are out with the girls, or girls are out selling, that you remind them to show that they're a Girl Scout. They don't have to have a full uniform. They can have a Girl Scout shirt on. They can have their cookie membership pin or a membership pin on for Girl Scouts. It's really what identifies them as a Girl Scout that represents them in that fashion. Always a buddy up, be streetwise, partner with adults. We know that they are the older Girl Scouts once they enter that cadets, seniors, and ambassadors where they buddy up and go out selling together. In Colorado, the daylight savings is here. We are definitely in the dark, so we want to be mindful that when troops are going out door to door of that daylight hours and being at the adult if it ends up being at that little dusk. Gosh, you guys on the chat, I love the positivity. Wonderful. You guys are jumping ahead. I'm not going to go to that because you jumped ahead. Additional volunteers for safety responsibilities are also on page 14. We need to make sure that everybody follows the safety activity checkpoints, which are found on our Girl Scouts of Colorado website. This resource provides instructions for safety while participating in various activities. Sometimes we think it's just selling cookies. It's so much more. You are driving with the girls. They're going to events outside. They're out at stores. We need to make sure we have our permission slips and that everything is in order so that the girls are safe. They're also going to be using online platforms. So we want to make sure that all of these are met and that you know where to go. Be sure to be prepared for emergencies at all times. We are Girl Scouts. That's part of us just doing our job. People always say when we're out at those cold cookie booths, aren't you cold? And no, we're not that cold. We're prepared. I jumped too fast. I will not skip over that. Help the girls plan the activity. An example of that, make sure that they're creating a jingle or two on how to bling their booth, keeping the grade level abilities in mind, encouraging girls to take the proactive leadership roles in organizing details of the activity. Everything we do is supposed to be girl-led. As much as we need the adults to be responsible for the back end of the program, everything we do is for them, and we don't want to ever forget that. And so it's that jingle that I said, when I said Melissa's got that jingle that pulls them in, it was right there waiting on this slide for me. I apologize. I'm a quick push, and I think I did that earlier on a different slide too. Always have a well-stocked first aid kit. I know I mentioned that earlier, but sometimes the smallest of a paper cut could end up being a cardboard cut with those cases, and they end up being a little bit of a bloody one. So we want to make sure that we're prepared for it. And make sure that when we're out there that we're also being a role model in all of our behaviors. If you're driving the car, seatbelts and things of that nature. Sometimes this is a huge thing for girls, and it comes out of their comfort zone to talk to a stranger, to ask for money, to deal with money on demand. And so let's just make sure that we create that emotionally safe space for the girls. That is always important for us. Oh, we have a lifer taking the training. Safety first still being in our focus, really making sure that the girls are never treated differently, that everything is fair for them, from family structure. If there's any disability, religious is definitely important, where if it falls on the weekends, our cookies are kosher, so things of that nature. But please be mindful of everybody's individual needs, that we promote the online safety, utilizing the safety activity checkpoints to make sure that the girls are prepared and ready, and that the girls are safe during money earning activities at all times. We don't want money transitions going through and the girls not being in a safe environment. We discussed a little bit earlier about what ifs. There's a whole page in the TCM manual on page 15. So I'm going to go over this, but I want to make sure that if you have questions in the heat of the moment, refer back to that TCM manual, and it's there, page 15. Girl Scouts of Colorado does not take financial responsibility for any of the circumstances of a theft, robbery, burglary, or fire, but will elevate such circumstances on a case-by-case basis to provide assistance to the troop. And this is why we have that money problem report, is that way we can help and go through all of it with you. But please contact your service unit cookie manager immediately if there is an issue. Never speak to media. An example of this could maybe be you're at a, maybe there's an emergency situation that happens in a King Soopers and you guys are selling out front and the media shows up because somebody had to maybe have stroke and had to leave and that they wanted to come over and communicate with the girls. We discourage you at any point in time from talking to media. We really want to make sure that if there's questions or anything, it goes through Kristen Ham, our Chief Marketing Communications Officer. If there was ever a theft or a robbery or any of those kind of natures at the booth and you are involving the police, we of course want you to do so quickly. But please also make that second phone call straight to our Chief Marketing Communications Officer who will help you. They will also help kind of talk you through the steps and guidelines too. So what is important that is if you do have to make a report, that you make sure that it is documented on the report or insurance claim of what had happened, the date, the time, what the loss would be, and the estimate of it. It doesn't happen often, but unfortunately these things do happen and why we have to talk to it. It's Girl Scouts, sensitive issues. If you haven't heard about it, we have definitely been under fire at times. I think what's important to say is that the Girl Scout organization is a nonprofit, and our fund development exclusively benefits the girls in our programs and not other organizations. We're not paying out other organizations, promoting them and supporting them. We are inclusively doing everything that we do for the girls in Girl Scouts of Colorado. And if anything ever happens at a booth, again, please direct them to Kristen Ham. We don't want you having to deal with sticky conversations that aren't for us. The cookie lineup. This is a nitty and gritty, and what we're here for, right, is to eat the cookies. Just imagine you're sampling some of that brand new lemon cookie. We still have that circle of the cookie confidential on top of it, and that is because, again, these slides were still, they wouldn't even give us a picture without it. That was how confidential and secretive it was. The lemons are taking place of that Savannah Smile. The Samoa is traditional if you like that coconut. My favorite, so anybody out there, whoop, whoop, those tag-alongs, that peanut butter is made by Little Brownie Baker. It's special peanut butter. Do-si-dos would definitely be my second because I think I have a peanut butter issue. Like you guys care about my favorites. If you ever want a gift, you know where I'm at. Trefoils is that traditional Girl Scout cookies. You might hear it called trefoils. It's more of a preference. I know Girl Scouts of USA would like us to go ahead and say it their way, but you might hear it either way. Thin Mints, that's our top seller, #1 cookie, heaviest cookie too, so when you're moving those cases, you'll think about that. The Girl Scout s'more that's been out for a few years. If you microwave it for a few seconds, mwah, I love it. Toffee-tastic is our gluten-free option, and that has been a long-standing, it's one of my favorites. Some people they don't love it as much because it's a harder cookie, but I absolutely love that Toffee-tastic, and it's been going strong, staying consistent for all of our gluten-free eaters. They like it too, so it keeps coming back. Just to give a little bit more detail about these cookies, little things I said, that Thin Mint is vegan. That is, woohoo, so anybody out in the Boulder area, that's definitely important. So a great question is what just popped up is, why we don't have the s'more cookie that's covered in chocolate on the outside, because that doesn't melt in the microwave. No, all jokes aside, there's two different bakers, and this is a great time to talk about that. Our baker for Girl Scouts of Colorado is Little Brownie Baker. There's another baker called ABC Baker. And so you can find Girl Scouts in other states, and and yes, you can share the new cookie now. I thought you were gonna say, yes, you can microwave it. I was like, not successfully. You can purchase from other girls out of state if for any reason you want to have those cookies for yourself. I definitely know a few Girl Scout friends and fans who do that, but they're two different bakers, and we right now have Little Brownie Baker, and their s'mores cookie is the one with the graham cracker on the outside, and Little Brownie, or ABC Baker, has the chocolate coated. And so if anybody asks for the chocolate, that's always my puncher, is you can't microwave that, it'll melt and eat it. So we want the traditional one that you can microwave for a few seconds and have some fun. A Girl Scout taught me that. So fun things, no high fructose corn syrup in our cookies, no partial hydrated oils, no artificial flavors in those Toffee-tastic cookies. The Girl Scout s'mores and do-si-dos are made with natural flavors. We do have those whole grain oats in those do-si-dos. Again, those Toffee-tastic being gluten-free. We also are very mindful of the packaging as we are transitioning from cardboard to soft packaging. They're anticipating that will reduce material waste by approximately 33%. It's just a different way of packaging and processing. So our council does have a little bit of that half where it's the box and then the soft shell package. So the ABC Baker Lemon is very similar to the new lemon up cookie that's out. There is some differences, definitely texture difference, but it is very similar. I'd say the flavor, I like it. We have a very lemon punch to ours, but the other one has more of a frosted layer from ABC Baker, and our lemon cookie has more of a glaze on it too. So a little bit different. The new packaging is not recyclable on the outside, which is great to know, because nor are the boxes, like the packages of the cookies either. But the inside tray, my understandings are still recyclable. I hope that helped a little there. Those questions definitely come up. So Girl Scout cookie program participation and policies. We have thousands of Girl Scouts participating in the cookie program. It is essential to have guidelines to ensure everybody, or that every girl has a chance to be successful. Girl Scouts of Colorado appreciates everyone abiding by the guidelines, incorporating the Girl Scout promise and law in the cookie program, and sharing them with the families of the troop. And I cannot say it enough about that promise and law. No, the cardboard boxes aren't 100% recyclable. I wish I had one in front of me to like feel really good about that. If you read it, they're not. It's the inside packaging. Sorry for anybody online. They were saying about the recyclability of it. I know. I thought they were too. The cases are, because they're cardboard. So what really justifies as a troop? It must have 2 unrelated adults registered and background checked, along with 3 unrelated registered girls. Now that what constitutes as a troop, if you only have 1 girl participating in the girl or the cookie program, they are still going to be in your troop and selling. So they are not moved out as a Juliet. A Juliet is a Girl Scout who is an individual Girl Scout, not participating in a troop setting. And if we have any Juliets online, as we go through the program, I will continue to talk about things that are catered directly to you. So Girl Scouts are welcome to market what they are selling cookies on social media sites. It becomes very heavy here when it comes to social media, because we ask that you are only sharing your cookie link for your digital order cookie site that is not the general public. So those friends and family only. So we don't want to be seeing people selling cookies on Craigslist, eBay, Twitter, and so forth. If for any reason you notice that, you can always go to the Cookie Action Report and let us know. GSUSA is also monitoring those sites to make sure that girls are adhering to the policies. Yay, we do have a Juliet. Awesome. Juliet's, I think just to say it right now, your participation is almost identical the whole way across for everybody else, except for how you turn in money and troop proceeds. Anything that the girls get, the Juliet girls get. So really, it'll be a good, smooth year for you. Booth tips. I apologize. I must have double-clicked again. Girl Scouts allow troop leaders and families to determine the best location for my sales. I'm a quick click, so I'm happy when I'm noticing I'm doing this. So my sales are something we will talk about a little bit later, so I will try not to get too much in the weeds in the beginning, but all my sales sites are subject to approval and will not be denied only for the fact that they may be located near an adult-oriented business. All booths must meet a safety and security guidelines and not conflict with any other booth location at that site or around. Girl Scouts of Colorado remind all participants that when you are selling Girl Scout cookies, you are representing Girl Scouts. Girl Scouts reserves the right to remove any booth for any reason at any time. No additional money earning activities take place during February 2nd, the start of the cookie program, to March 18th, and that is when our ACH debit comes out and we consider the program completely finished. Booth tips. Booths are the main bulk of our program. We find out that door-to-door definitely is there, but we are a booth-heavy council. And so if you were in the TCM Manual on page 20 is really where we start with these booth tips, and what to bring to a booth will be on that page also, from cookie chairs, tables, and so forth. But make sure that you are offering gift of caring and hometown hero options that your girls have discussed at their meeting before, to share those goals with customers. Goals are really it. I'm going to give you an example. My daughter wanted to go to San Francisco to do a bridging with the Girl Scouts out there as a cadet. She made a simple white sign, and she's no artist. She just did her simple Golden Gate and made this red bridge across. And people saw her cookies on the table, and they came up. She'd hold her sign up and say, "Help me get there." And people would look, "Help me get here," by buying a package of cookies. And she made it. She really did. So it's really sharing your goal with the customers and having the girls have that clear line of what their goal is will definitely help the customers want to purchase. Making bundles, giving away recipes, and always offering a sample. Got to watch those girls. They like to sample too, and you end up sampling more than you're selling. But little tips and tricks, please go onto that page 20 in the TCM guide, and that will let you know just kind of ins and outs and what to do. What to bring with you. You want to always bring your booth confirmation, a copy of it if you don't have it electronically. Okay, so a question online was, if a parent owns a liquor store and are interested in a booth sale outside of that, is that considered an adult business? Yes, it is, and it is allowed as long as the girls are in a safe location. So, and then again, yes, it goes back to personal parent choice for themselves when it comes to if it is outside of an adult business, we can waive the right to say no to it, but we will not deny it just because of that measure. So there are circumstances that might make it, but overall, we are not here to govern and parent other adults. We really just want to make sure the girls are safe in what they're doing and that it is agreed upon the parent of the girl and the TCM on where the girls are going. And if everybody is okay with it and it meets the guidelines, then we are going to respect their decisions as the overseeing adults. My sales will get into further, but you do need to have a verbal approval. Written is always the best. So when you go into the booth, please make sure that you bring a copy of it so that way if somebody else is there, you can kind of say real quick, oh, you have the date wrong, right? Or whatever the issue might be. Make sure that you have an inventory sheet with you. That way then you can record what's coming and going. Table and chairs are always nice. If you forget it, you're going to be like my troop, or we're going to make a box stand. Things happen. Make sure you have the change. We got rid of those quarters. Some people love that. Some people hate it. I love it. So you don't really have to worry about that. But also the blinging out your booth of having posters and stuff. And again, all the booth etiquette stuff that we are going over 22 and 23. So as we go into the do's and don'ts of booth etiquette, arriving early, count your boxes, all your packages, your cases, everything before and after your booth. Make sure you print your stuff. Only operate the booth for the time that you're supposed to be there. Let's say that your shift is 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. You're showing up at 4 o'clock, right? And at 6 o'clock, you know you're supposed to be packed up and leaving. Somebody else's time starts at 6. Please be mindful of that. Your pack-up time should be that 5:50 to slowly start gathering the stuff as the girls are pulling in their last customers. As you will see the next person transitioning in for the booth coming in to say hello, they should be going into the manager to be saying that, hey, we're a new troop and we're here. You should be always communicating with those managers, letting them know you're coming and going. They appreciate that for just that safety of their site too. Dress appropriately for the weather. We want to make sure that the girls aren't out there shivering. We want to say that we're prepared. It definitely is not going to help your sales if you have girls that look as green as a pack or as purple as the package that they're selling, right? We want to make sure that they're ready. Do thank the store managers when leaving. Make sure there's always a buddy system if girls are having to use a restroom or anything of that nature. Make sure that girls are counting the money accurately. We want the girls to be responsible for this program and sale, but once they're done making the change, somebody should be overseeing that behind them. So, as I say, step back, allow the girls to do it and take the lead, but just be behind them as their support and their wall to hold them up. I do like have water for the girls to drink. It says do remain outside the store as one of these do's. If the manager says it is okay for you to go in the store and ask you to come in, it is okay to go in. We always say it's best to be outside. People don't know that there's Girl Scouts inside when they're driving by if you're inside the store. So being outside definitely lets somebody know if they're driving by and want to stop to swing up and grab some from you. Oops, that's my quick finger. All the don'ts. Oh, nobody wants to be the downer, right? The joy kill. I'm going to do it. Don't allow girls to participate without a signed permission slip, form, and emergency contact numbers. Don't take a girl out somewhere if you haven't followed that guideline first. Do not bring siblings or friends or tag-alongs to a booth. Only registered Girl Scouts can be at a booth. Don't approach customers as they are entering the store. Please wait as they are exiting. You need to make sure the girls, they have that plan that you, when the customer's coming in, it's hello, good evening, right? Or a good day. As they are leaving, would you like to purchase? They see you on the way in, but if you get them on the way in and out, it can be overkill for them and make them feel not as happy, right? So be mindful of that sale. Marianne's answering stuff about the DOC, and I think when the questions that are on there about who it's connected to will be answered later on, so I hope I do get to those. Don't allow girls to disrupt the customers by yelling, getting in front of them, jumping, you know, making obstacles to make it so they're forced into a purchase. But I cannot stress the #1 complaint we get from store managers, and it was somebody says, why are we not allowed at this Walmart? It could be because troops leave the trash behind. It is not King Soopers, Safeway, that little frozen yogurt shop's responsibility to take your empty cases of cookies. You had an amazing sale. Now you got 10 extra case boxes that are empty and they're broken down and you shoved them in their trash can, but now the trash can's full. Please don't leave any trash behind. Clean up after yourselves. Take your empty cookie cases with you. Take an extra bag with you to take the trash if the girls are having snacks of anything. And #1 rule is you never change the price of the cookies. Not at the beginning of this program, not towards the end to help sell them. The cookie program has the sale of $4 per package and then the $5 for the specialty. Leaving your product unprotected or even your cell phones or money on the table is definitely never a good option. My Sale booths are troop organized booth sites. These My Sale booths are select council booths run from February 2nd to March 8th. So there's those 2 levels of them. A TCM can enter a My Sale booth in eBuddy starting on January 20th. So if you're in there and you're excited and you want to get them listed, we have changed this to January 20th. We have found as council booths are still slowly being trickled in and uploaded that there ends up being a conflict from My Sale booths and what ends up being a council booth. And so we don't have that. We just wait to put the My Sales in until the actual council booths are all uploaded. We encourage you guys to go get your own My Sales. It not only brings that spirit of the Girl Scout to the store itself, those store managers really appreciate having the girls come for that personal ask. Stores that are not included on the council booth list, the do not contacts are Walmart, Sam's Club, Joann Fabrics, Dunkin' Donuts, Safeway, Albertsons, King Soopers, and City Markets. If you don't see one of those on a council booth site, it does not mean that you're able to go talk to them to set up a site for your daughter or anybody in your troop. These are no contact. They are in contract with Girl Scouts of Colorado, and we have special obligations with them and policies that we have to follow. But any other stores, if it's a Lowe's, a Walgreens, those are open for My Sales. But just double check that we as a council did not enter into an agreement with a certain location. This year, what has changed is we are trying to get more council locations that open up on February 2nd. That might be those Lowe's or Walgreens that are getting inundated with so many troops. They're not able to really keep up with the scheduling of it and want us to take hold. So you'll start to see some of those changes. If you want ideas of where to go for My Sales, sporting events, parks, playgrounds, concert plays, car washes, and places of worship are definitely places that go out there. You just need to make sure that wherever the property is, that the manager has given you approval to have sales there. Some things do require peddling licenses and so forth, so you need to make sure that you're following all those guidelines. When in doubt, ask somebody. We will help you figure it out. My Sales booths encourage caregivers to work with family, friends, and local businesses to uncover new selling opportunities. It goes far beyond just that King Soopers and Walmart, especially for those new Daisy troops. Those personal one-offs are amazing. Dog stores are great. We have a Bentley's that loves to work with us. But booth sites must provide a safe and secure location for girls, and it cannot conflict with any of the council-sponsored booths or any of the other My Sales sites that have already been approved. All booths must be approved by the manager of the location. And a question earlier was, do I get that verbal or written down? Written down, always make sure there's no verbal misunderstanding. So if they verbally say something to you, get their contact information and follow up with an email. Thank you so much for allowing us to come to your location. We'll be there on this and date. If you have any questions, here's my stuff, right? So that way then it gives you that extra sense of security and support from that manager. We do know that verbal agreements cause verbal confusion, and they might verbally say to 4 troops to come at the same time, and then you're calling your service unit cookie manager or your product program specialist really upset about how did this happen. So errors do happen, but to minimize that, we definitely make sure that written agreements are there. And when you fill out the My Sales, we'll get to that, and it will definitely show you where to put like the manager approval and so forth. What is key on here, bold, is do not enter personal resident addresses in eBuddy. We don't want people to know where your home is. But if you're going to be having like kind of a lemonade stand, use the cross streets around. We know that those little stands are great. I always love seeing them in my neighborhood. It's great. Makes me happy in the wintertime, right? Because we don't do lemonade, we do Girl Scout cookies. So just make sure that if you're putting in a my sale and it's going to be in front of a home, that we're not putting your residence, you're using the cross streets around it. So parks and public land, you need to work with whoever oversees that park or that place to get the permission to be there. So if it is some sort of recreational, whatever the management is there, I wouldn't know exactly on each location. It would be dependent upon, sometimes if it's a local park, they might have a sign out. I know things like 16th Street Mall, there's no one to contact. You're not selling there, but if you want to go to DU, you contact their administrative department. So it's kind of hit and miss, but really just kind of use those resources, but please make sure that you have used your resources, make sure you have permission to be there. If it's a parking lot of an old abandoned sports authority that's not open anymore, there might be a number on that front door to say, hey, can we sell in the corner of your parking lot on the Saturdays? That way then people can drive on in and grab some cookies. It's limitless onto what you can do for a my sale. Select council booths will be available as early as February 2nd. All other booths will be available February 15th. Most of those booths are going to be King Soopers who are in contract with us. Majority of Walmarts, especially Walmarts on the Western Slope, Walmart has a 14-day contract with us. Some Walmarts are willing to allow us in longer and others not so. So you will see that King Soopers, Walmarts, and Safeway are technically usually happening about that February 15th and on. I like that. Try the Department of Recs. All troops will have the opportunity to sign up for booth locations that have been prearranged by Girl Scouts of Colorado. There are certain locations that council coordinates at a corporate level, and we go over those. Those locations, of course, are not to be contacted. That's at King Soopers and so forth. It is rare, but we have had to issue fines to troops who go out and have entered into an agreement with the King Soopers manager wrongfully. So please don't do that. Let's just keep it friendly and fair for everybody and make sure that we don't end up losing the sites, because if somebody does something wrong, all of us could lose. When it comes to council booths, they are coordinated by us. Again, you can see why we like to say this over and over again. Joann Fabrics, Dunkin' Donuts, Albertsons, Walmart, Sam's Clubs, and all those King Super City markets. I will say that if a Joann's or Dunkin' Donuts isn't showing up on the list, you might have a little bit of flexibility to reach out to your service unit cookie manager or the product program specialist, even if the program has started, to see if we can try to get one there. Overall, we're able to get most of them in, but there are definitely the one-off. So Girl Scouts of Colorado staff coordinates with each of these corporations to establish the dates and times that they will allow us to be there. And troops just must not go out of those, because changes of those timeframes could really affect all of ours agreements to be there. We do understand, we really do, that everybody has individual and troop goals, that some girls are really high up there trying to sell 5,000 and other ones really just want to make that 25. But it is not the responsibility of Girl Scouts of Colorado or its staff to determine which troops have the better goals or booth sites. So the selection system in place is the fairest way for troops to reserve council booth locations. I am going to take just a moment to breathe, and I'm going to scroll back and just make sure I did not miss a slide that would have been showing me. Nope, I didn't. I didn't know if the booth selections were here. I think I'm going to do a jump back, which I won't. The booth selections and timeframes are in the TCM manual that you can reference back to, so you know when the booth selections are. And I believe further along, I actually will have that quote to you too. I think when I was skip happy earlier, I apologize. I went really quick through it to see what the flow of the booth selections would be. Girl rewards, troop proceeds, and philanthropic opportunities. I'm going to stutter over that word the whole way through it, so giggle now and continue to giggle the whole way through. We want to help the girls reach their goals, and this is, I had a drum roll. That's my drum roll. Hopefully I didn't blow out anybody's speakers. Our rewards are going to be the next slide. Ta-da! All of you should be receiving a reward order card for each of the girls. The reward, the order card was not finalized by the time we got this TCM manual done. So you will actually see in page 24 of the TCM manual, a detailed breakdown of this reward card. So even though it's a different format, it looks different than all the jazz of this, it is on page 24, and it shows you exactly what has to be done for each of these levels. It's just reading style preference too. I like all the colors. I like all the butterflies. I will point out a few changes that are really exciting for us. Down here on the bottom left, you'll see that there's a Swiss Army knife, a headlamp, and the socks for the camping kit. Those little socks are saying, if you can read these, bring me more s'mores, and they glow in the dark. It is a perfect little pocket knife, small, like a little keychain size, and that Daisy Girl Scouts, under our Girl Scout policy and guidelines, because you're going to definitely be reading that in that safeties if you have a Daisy. Girl Scouts does not allow Daisy Girl Scouts to bring those to troop meetings. That does not mean that a parent guardian cannot say that their Girl Scout can earn that reward and have it for their own personal at home and under their parent guidance. For it to come to a Girl Scout meeting, it has to follow underneath our guidelines, and that we recommend that brownies and older utilize that. And there's definitely safety guidelines for knives and how to like introduce it for girls. I've hosted a camp that was related around this, so I think it's great to bring this comfort for the girls. We have a rainbow buff and fanny pack that so far has gotten a lot of great reviews, so that it kind of fits for our council. These are things that we have added in that aren't from the Little Brownie Bakers. You can kind of see their theme and what we've added. The butterfly pavilion, because as you see it, find your wings and do wow things, can get you right to the butterfly pavilion as an option. And right below that is the shoe that grows, that really is near and dear to a lot of our hearts, and we'll talk about it a little bit further on too. And that is a philanthropic opportunity for the girls if they want to give a shoe to somebody in need. So awesome. Yeah, the website still needs to be updated for our Juliet manual and also for our reward card. We usually put the reward card out once the program starts. So thank you, Marianne. That's awesome. We have the Troop Seller reward also is on the bottom, digital cookie rewards, and the gift of caring that's listed on this reward card for the girls to see. Earlier in the chat box, this big bold was definitely a conversation, and I was happy to hear this. This is near and dear to all of us on the department's hearts. Oh man, it makes us happy. So every 2020 graduating Girl Scout, ambassador Girl Scout, that's seniors in high school, who sells over 500 plus packages, which I'm just going to tell you all, our seniors on average sell 500 plus packages. So our seniors are some of our top selling girls, along with those young little daisies. Everyone says daisies sell it because they're adorable. Ambassador Girl Scouts and older Girl Scouts have a goal, and they are driven. So they are equal competition to a really adorable Daisy Girl Scout. But if they sell 500 packages of cookies, they will earn the Girl Scout lifetime membership, near and dear to all of us. So I'm smiling over here. Uh-oh, we have reward questions. Go ahead and bring it out. Now's the time. It might be a long one she's typing, so we'll keep on going. And as I see that in the chat box, I'll definitely, if it's something for all of us, refer back to it. Cookie credits is one of those reward options for the girls. This allows the girls who are like, I don't really care about that Frisbee. I would rather have cookie credits so I can go to camp, or I can go out and purchase something for Girl Scouts at the shop, or another opportunity that they might want. There's all sorts of events and things that cookie credits go for. A Girl Scout who chooses the cookie credits can attend service unit trips, events, activities, where the per girl fee is included with the Girl Scouts of Colorado. And that's really important, that the cookie credits are for Girl Scouts of Colorado. You cannot take Girl Scout cookie credits into California and attend their camp. You can't take Girl Scout cookie credits and go out to Florida and purchase a uniform through their shop. It is only for our state. That's why they are Girl Scouts of Colorado cookie credits. They can use these credits to participate in any Girl Scouts of Colorado sponsored event or activity. They can use it towards travel with EF tour destinations and other Girl Scout travel. You can stack these throughout the years. It's not an expiration. I mean, there's a 10-year expiration, which is like the year-longs of the Girl Scouts. So ideally, these will last with them throughout their years if they start to stack them. With that caveat, I will say, if you do hold on to cookie credits for years because the girls have a destination goal. My girls one time was Mesa Verde that the girls were going on a trip to. We were taking pictures of that cookie credit card. That way we had it, and we also would send an email of it. So just take a picture of it. So in case you lose a cookie credit card, you have the numbers on the back. And that way then it's truly never lost. Please make sure that you are just documenting that. EF tours are tours that Girl Scouts work with. It is a tour site that is approved Girl Scout travel too. So I believe through our Girl Scout website, you are able to find all the resources for that. Our director actually does tours with them and takes out youth, and she loves it. She just got back from Chichen Itza. So it's amazing what the girls can do and support that's out there. So if you don't want to rough it and camp it, and you want to glamp it, it's all there. Girl Scouts can also use these cookie credits for their highest award project materials and fees. That is critical because a lot of older girls stay in the cookie program selling so they can make money for their highest awards. So you can use the cookie credits towards that. They can attend volunteer run events with a per girl fee, go to summer camp, and this is just a basic guideline. Please, if you look at that bottom right side, it shows that underneath that forms again on the Girl Scout website, you will see where it says the cookie credit reimbursement form, and you can fill that out there too. If you look down here where it says also forms 2 over will say help. If you ever click in on that help on the Girl Scout website and you put in cookie credits, it's going to give you all the ins and outs of cookie credits, I promise you. This is actually in the TCM Manual on page 25. So if you are following along with me, we should be cruising right along. Troop rewards are all troops earn 65 cents per package. Troops with a selling average of 350 girls move on to the 70 cents per package. Our average selling is over 300, around that 315, I believe. I think it was 314 last year was the per girl average. So that 350 is definitely an easy perk to get that 70 cents per package. It definitely adds up. Oh, someone's going on a trip, you guys, on the chat log, and they can't wait. And if you ever need a backup volunteer, I'm registered, background check, certified in CPR, and everything else needed, and has all the Girl Scout training. I'm always here for any of you. On to that, troop super seller. We like to acknowledge when troops go above and beyond what is our average of that 300 selling. So the troops with a super selling average of 425 packages will receive a super selling patch for each registered girl, plus 25 in addition, additional proceeds to fund a troop activity for every selling girl and 2 registered adults. That would be accumulative if you keep on selling and you make it up to the 60 or the 625 packages per selling girl, you get the additional 25 proceeds to fund an activity for every selling girl for 2 registered adults. So that would end up being 50. It's huge. This is really where a lot of troops use this money to be able to go on activities and do things, or even just fund those uniform purchases and so forth for them. We were due diligent troop of always making sure uniforms and dues were always paid out of Girl Scout cookie proceeds. So initial order, troops who have an initial order of 225 packages per registered girl will receive a CEO cookie patch for every girl, a CEO patches and cookie trays for the adults, and troops who have an initial order of 325 per registered girl will receive a wall decal for every girl and a chalkboard tabletop sign. What is important to know about that also, this is on page 30 of the TCM manual, is that we have an extra tier that we added in this year for new troops. And this might really be for a lot of you. I'm going to apologize again because I am doubling up on my slides and making it harder for myself. On page 30, it will show you that if you are a first-year troop with an initial order of 125 packages per registered girl, you will get a Girl Scout tablecloth, and all the girls get the Cookie Rookie patch. And so this is only for first-year troops. If you have never participated in the program before and you are just nervous about putting in something for 225 packages per girl, and you're like, what is that? I will say that we encourage it so you're not going to the cupboard. We would never, ever encourage you to take on more cookies that we did not feel that your girls could sell. Some girls might only sell the 300, some might go to 700, some might sell 50. There's a balance and it all works out, and our average ends up at that just over 300. But new troops, we don't want you to feel pressured. We don't want you to be ever scared away, and we want you to be successful and the girls to feel properly supported. So there is that additional tier for the 125. That is probably one of the other big prides that we have on our team that we are bringing this year. What are you going to do with your cookie proceeds? We discussed this a little bit earlier. Service project, troop supplies, awards, recognitions. Make sure you're being transparent with the parents and the troop at all times too on what the girls have decided. It's the girls' money. The girls get to be proud and say what they are doing, what they plan on doing, and it encourages them to sell. So please make sure that it's the girls leading it, and that if you as a troop TCMs are saying that we would like for it to pay towards these things, you can put your input with the girls, and it's all about a good, fun vote. I don't miss those. Top achiever events, we have girls that go above and beyond throughout the program in their sales, and we want to make sure that we recognize those girls and all of their accomplishments. They get to choose if they would like to go to a top achiever event or if they would like the cookie credit. Something also new this year is that you will see that we have the cookie or an option that is on the Sunday. Is there an image of the cookie trays or tabletop signs was a question. I'm going back to that chat log. I don't have one at the quick of my hand. I don't actually know if we have one on the website yet. Marianne said that she could send one out. And Marianne, maybe that's something we can send to everybody too, just so they see it. The tabletop is like a chalkboard that's really cute with cookie designs around it. And the tray is a lemon-shaped tray for the troop incentive. And I will be mindful to let you know that the troop incentive, the initial order, is geared towards the adult. Or just the troop. And when we say that, we mean adult, like a troop level thing. So it being a tray, we're anticipating that's going to the cookie booth with you guys, and it's going out on display with some cookie samples, or that you're using it with the troop for activities and so forth, or that display going out at the booth. We want functional programmatic things that we feel that you can use with the girls that are going out. And so we're very mindful of that, but we also know that the girls are the ones doing the hard work for your goal choices in the beginning. So that's why there's a patch and also that wall decal for them. So we acknowledge that on both sides. Top achiever events, what's different is you'll see Cheyenne Mountain Zoo is on a Sunday. We definitely, we've always traditionally had our top achiever events as like a super Saturday, a Saturday thing. That way then if somebody from Grand Junction wants to drive on down to the Elitches, they have a little bit more time and flexibility to travel and plan. Or if somebody from Denver is like, I'm going up to Glenwood, it's going to fill up everybody. I'm going up to Glenwood. Just to know that they have the ability. But we also do know that there's religion that comes into play that hinders some girls from being able to participate fully with Girl Scouts on a Saturday, and we have not been inclusive of them in years past. And this year we want to be very mindful, and so we're putting out that Sunday option and hoping we can capture some of those girls who did not feel included in years past. So that is definitely a change and that we are mindful of. So some of these things just feel really near and dear. You can hear me just get the smiles and the heart chokes, just like with that lifetime membership. So when that all got approved, it was like hurrahs for all of us. So the 2020 CEO event, we have kind of changed this. We've always had like the top 100, but that's really hard for girls to see what that actual number is. And we want to make sure that we're supporting girls in their goals. And it's girls like, I want to be a top 100. That's great to strive without the knowing, but that also isn't allowing us to help support them and where they need to be. So in years past the top 100, we couldn't tell you what that number would be. Is it, 1,500 packages? Is it 1,700? So this year we have changed it because on average it is right there about that 2,000 for our top 100 girls. So we've made it the 2020 CEO event. And so more information about that will come as it gets closer, but that is another option for the girls to have. But at least now they know where they need to be. And once they get to that 2020, they are going to be our top girls. We are sure of it. So we're always fascinated by what the girls are able to achieve. New this year is that the service units will receive an incentive. We can't stress enough how important that service unit is. You've heard me say in the beginning that that relationship with the other volunteers is critical, and making sure that you connect with them and having service units to have funds to do activities is important. So service units will receive 1 penny per package sold if the number of packages in 2020 are 3% or more over what the service unit sold in 2019. And that if in this program that they sell 6% over what the service unit sold last year, it is 2 cents per package. That might sound like a small amount of money, but I tell you, it adds up really quick when you have service units who are selling very large numbers. So what is critical is that we are communicating with the service unit cookie managers that they need to submit an ACH form for the service unit. Otherwise, we have nowhere to give money to the service unit to use for the girls and activities. So, and be mindful, these are not cumulative. Where before with the initial order, if you do go up to the 325 level, you are going to get the 2 tabletop signs, the goal getter patches, the wall quotes, the 2 trays, and the CEO patch. Those are cumulative across the board. So be mindful of that. S'mores Club details. This is really from our fall product program, would be the kickoff of the s'mores. So if you did not participate in the fall program, please be mindful. This is going to happen again next year. That this is a program that cross connects our fall program and our cookies. By participating in the fall, and also in the cookies and meeting these guidelines, you then can earn these s'more rewards. So in the fall, if you did participate, it would have had to been 15 items sold by the girl online, and I believe it was 350, sorry, it threw me off because I was reading it different on this, 350 online for the troop. And then for cookies, for the girl, it's 300 packages of cookies to sell. And remember, that's our girl average, so we set it right there. We've had it at that for a few years. 300 packages of cookies, and the girl meets the qualifications. So if she sold the 15 items online and sells 300 packages, she is qualified for the S'mores Club. It doesn't matter if anybody else in the troop earned it, even you TCMs and troop fall product managers, doesn't matter. That girl can still earn the reward. But for the adults to get this jazz up good stuff too, they need to make sure that you have your agreement signed. For a fall product manager had to be signed, and a cookie manager agreement had to be signed, and that the troop reaches a 350 in the fall product sale, and then also 300 average of girls selling in the cookie program, which is really easy to meet. It is. So my drum roll again, so you can see these rewards. Oh, my drum roll is so slow compared to my click over. There we go. This year we went with a duffel bag and a hoodie. We are hearing that girls want something more programmatic that meets them at their needs and with their travels and what they're doing in Girl Scouts. So that forest green is definitely loved by all of us, and that duffel bag has a little shoe holder in there, or a separation compartment, I say. So when those girls want to put their stinky socks in the bag at camp, they definitely have a separation. Hopefully it's not food going into the cabin. So this is a reward this year. So far it's been a great hit. Everybody has been loving that it's more programmatic and fits the troop needs. I don't even want to say the word because you know I'm going to fumble over it. The philanthropic opportunities. We also have the Hometown Heroes program, which is where the girls can choose a local organization that they want to have customers purchase cookies for to be donated to. Sometimes it could be a military troop because they have friends and family that they can get the cookies to. It could be our troop did the zoo for the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo. It was the volunteers for the zoo. The girls voted on that. I will never forget the sweet little girl who raised her hand and said, "Why not those zoo volunteers? They're out there shoveling poop." And I could not stop laughing. And that was who the girls chose. And they went down and donated their cookies, and they did some programmatic stuff there, volunteering at the little budgies, making little sticks, in addition to all the other stuff that we had that day. So, I mean, it could be Ronald McDonald houses. It could be food banks. It's really up to the girls what their hometown hero is and what it means to them. So troops don't take possession of those hometown hero cookies. We really ask that they're picked up at the end of the program and utilizing cleaning out our cupboards to fill up stuff. So that way you're not holding on to cookies throughout the program. It's only cookies that you're selling. Hometown Hero is really easy. The girls get to choose their group organization to receive the donated cookies. The recipients can be heroes in the community, such as a nonprofit organization that we had stated before. Tell customers that they can buy it from your troop and donate to this organization. So this is really great. If somebody says, "I don't want any cookies, please support our Hometown Hero." All arrangements for selection, delivery, and shipment of Hometown Heroes are the troop's responsibility. So we want to be very mindful of that. Steps for managing Hometown Hero inventory are covered in the eBuddy section of the training and also in the TCM guide. So please note that we do cover it so you are aware. Click this. My screen's not clicking, so I apologize. We do have that June 27th is the last day to deliver cookies, as cookies do expire. We don't want you delivering them out in July and August when they expire at the beginning of September. And we say expire, it's really the shelf date and the best used by is any. That if they're frozen, they're definitely good, but we don't want to be selling last year's cookies or giving out donations for it. So with that, Hometown Hero is also a gift of caring. Maybe you guys want to have a donation option, but don't want to be responsible for coordinating and having those cookies after the program. You want to wipe your hands and be done. And that is where the gift of caring program comes into play. And that is where our Girl Scouts of Colorado use the cookies for Operation Gratitude to the military, both local and overseas. And also sometimes local charities that are working in behalf of Girl Scouts and troops. So the Girl Scout or the girls will never collect money for these cookies, and they do not take physical possession. These are all done electronically and virtually. So we have different rewards because these are a virtual part of the program versus an actual tangible and continued programmatic part. So tell customers that they can purchase cookies from your troop to be donated to the military going through our gift of caring program. And so if you're at a booth and you guys are doing the gift of caring, you might want to have a little box on the side and have the package. So when somebody makes a donation, you put it into the box so they can kind of see the growth, like, hey, we have donations here, is what we see a lot of troops do, knowing that at the end of the program, really that money gets deposited into the bank account, but those cookies actually will go back into the sale, but it gives the visual for the customer, if that made any sort of sense. I will say that we are getting really into it at an hour and a half. I think I'm doing okay. Marianne might be chuckling online saying I'm not. But we're just about halfway through. I will tell you that. I normally would like to take a break so we can breathe, but I want to be mindful of continuing going. So I do apologize if it feels long for you. Another thing that we have that was created by Girl Scouts here and Girl Scouts of Colorado was our Give program. And this is trying to catch wind and kind of go more nationally. Little Brownie Baker came out and met with our girls last year, and we kept hearing that girls wanted to donate back into Girl Scouts and girls that are less fortunate into Girl Scouting. And so now the Give program is where girls are allowed that participate in the fall product program or the cookie program to donate their cookie credits to provide opportunity grants for other girls and Girl Scouts in the council. And those opportunity grants offset the cost of the uniforms attending or girls attending camp activities and per girl fees. But troops also can make a donation of the proceeds. So if the girls don't want to do cookie credits, but the troop says we want to donate $10 into this, at the end, you can go ahead and make that donation. I had mentioned earlier something that was pretty near and dear to us was this shoe that grows. This is a shoe that grows with a foot. It can grow up to 4 different sizes because International is an amazing organization that is bringing these shoes out to children who are less fortunate in Kenya. A lot of these children can't go to school if they don't have shoes on their feet, so they don't get the education. And then once they finally can get the shoe, you'll see that some have one shoe on, one off, holes, and so forth. So they created this shoe that is almost think of like a cane, and they snap off and they get bigger as it grows. It's amazing. But we have learned about this from a different council who was participating in it and had great support. And the girls loved it to see that these shoes were able to give back to others in need. So at the 750 level, girls are able to donate a pair of shoes to this organization. And we will definitely make sure that after the program closes out, we communicate how many shoes our council donated and where they're going and so forth. And if we can get photos, that would be amazing. We're going to keep our hopes up. It usually just takes a bit of time. So that's a new addition this year that we're really hoping that girls also find something that they'd like to give back into. Boom, eBuddy. Okay, everybody. eBuddy is our lifeline for the program. eBuddy is where everything is housed. It is, we have to know our eBuddy. So I'm going to go through this, and I'm going to encourage everybody to take any of the other webinars that are for eBuddy initial order, eBuddy closeout, the ins and outs. It never hurts. Always reference your manual throughout the program. We have all these screenshots for a reason. We thought it was worth putting them in there so that you guys would have it. So that throughout the program you don't feel lost. The screenshots are from the actual site, so it will help. Please use these resources and know that eBuddy also has a help function for you. eBuddy, as I'm doing it's our everything. It's a system that allows for easy access for Little Brownie Bakers to communicate with us, for us to be that in-between tool from the troops to council to Little Brownie Baker and also to our warehouses to move cookies. It is critical. It's our lifeline. Everything in this system has a purpose, and when glitches start happening, we are just as stressed as you. But it is something that we don't oversee. It is Little Brownie Baker's platform, so as soon as something happens, if it ever does, we notify them. We have been known in Girl Scouts of Colorado to break the system in so many words because we all log in at one time, but they have caught up to us, and now they have high speed. All of you will receive updates through eBuddy, so make sure that when you're in there under contacts, you do not have your settings set for no email, because you're going to wonder why you're not in the loop and you're missing information. Service unit cookie managers communicate through the eBuddy platform, and also council does. If we have something emergency, good to know, FYI, booths are coming available, anything changing, you are going to miss it if you click off that no email. You want our emails. We're not going to spam you. We don't have time for spam. We want to give you information that's critical. So please be mindful of that. Once you have the agreement that is approved, that is when you will start to get eBuddy access. It did start in December 16th, so anybody who had it approved before has been in for a while checking those rosters. So if you're feeling the heat next year, it's okay. Let's just do this all on the front end so you don't feel it at the end. The link is unique to you and can't be used by other people, but I will be honest, if those websites that you see here on the screen, if for any reason you say you don't get the link, you can just click on that site, and if you're in the system, put that email in that you used on the TCM agreement, and it should populate you in, allowing you to choose a password. So there's always a workaround. A sign-in email from Girl Scouts of Colorado will be sent to you and put on your to the email that you put in on your TCM agreement, and that is critical. That's probably the number one, like, well, I never got the email. Well, you're using 3 different emails and you gave us XYZ, not ABC. So just be mindful of that, and that is where it goes to. This is like a link that you go through and it creates your password. This is the first picture you will see, the cookie tech portal, where you will enter in your email and then confirm your new password. It's really that easy. It used to be secret codes in the past. Trust me, you're happy you're not part of the secret codes anymore, because we would forget if it was do-si-do 2000. What? Gosh, I entertain myself over here. Sorry. Your next site will be when you get in, to get right to that settings, updating your profile, fixing all your stuff, making sure here that you don't have your emails clicked off, because once again, we won't be able to get a hold of you. So make sure that that is not checked off here. When you log in, we had mentioned about some resources that you do get, whether it's finding some of the Little Brownie Baker resources for troop activities, snippets, and clippets. You'll find it here, even e-learning for the VIP training site. So even though it's not by Girl Scouts of Colorado, eBuddy also has Little Brownie Baker puts out their own trainings to help you with their site and other just cookie things. This dashboard here might not look like your dashboard. Please do not be alarmed if you log in. You're like, well, I'm missing like 5 of those squares. This is a council view, and it's going over encompassing everything for every level that possibly could be out there. So, oh, so it says right there, hello, I could read the thing. You will see all except for Ideal Cookie Sale, which is how, or you will see all apps except for Ideal Cookie Sale, which houses council things. Logging in with the forgot password. When in doubt, forgot password helps us all figure it out. If the forgot password doesn't work, then you want to reach out to probably a product program specialist to get you in right now. Your service unit cookie manager would be a great person, but they're just going to get you right to your product program specialist. So make sure that you've turned in all your paperwork before you reach out to anybody, and that you know that you have a current membership and background check, and that if you are not the person who's on the ACH, that the person who is, or the 2 people, have submitted it in for your troop. If you participate in fall program, you know you're good to go for cookies. So just to be mindful of that. Troop checklist. Oh, what happened there? That wasn't even me clicking. That was just a happy computer. It's ready for the night, but we are not. Troop checklist is on here also. So make sure that you check off items to include on council specific items. Measure what your council and our service unit neighborhood. Sorry, these are dynamic things that are over the council site dashboard. Upcoming boosts will also show, and future boost sites will show up on the dashboard. And make sure that your service unit information is correct when you log in. So just look at your dashboard, and that is the first screen that you see for your troop, and make sure everything looks correct for you. Don't worry, there's a lot of us looking too, but all eyes on deck. Ooh, great question. Someone's jumping a few slides ahead of me. A question in the chat box is, how does a volunteer who will be picking up cookies from cupboards only gain access? Oh, we are going to show you. It's underneath the settings where you will add them in for cupboard pickup only. So I will show you that here in just a few minutes. Council will set up the troop dashboard, and Little Brownie Baker is working on all the additional widgets for the program. So even though we say what we want to see, this one's more accurate for you guys actually right here. We say what we want you to see. Ideally, LBB makes it all happen and work. So you'll see cupboard maps and so forth. You'll see how your troop is doing, who's located in, a calendar, because we want to make sure that you know the dates. The dynamic dashboard that will let you know where your cupboards are. This is showing Cleveland, but you just imagine Colorado there. I don't know how Ohio is in there. It'll show where you are at and where the cupboard locations are at in relation to you. And remember, cupboards are statewide. I don't think you want to drive out to Grand Junction or Silverthorne to pick up cookies or down to Pueblo. But if for any reason you're driving in that neighborhood and having a sale down there and you want to utilize that cupboard, you put that order in 72 hours in advance and you can pick up cookies from anywhere across the state. So as we go further along, I will show you what, I do not know the double click here. I will show you what that looks like in the system. So there is a wait list for booths that you will see on the dashboard. So when you are making your booth selections, if for any reason something is taken and you really wanted that King Soopers on that 20th date, you can put the little wait list and it shows a little button on how you go ahead and submit that. What I will tell you is you're not the only person on the wait list. There could be hundreds on the wait list. And as soon as a troop releases that booth, an email goes out to everybody on the wait list. And it's really who's just email efficient that day. They go quickly, trust me. Us at Council have learned that. So, but the calendar will show you where your booths are at on your dashboard. So some of these enhancements are really going to make the dashboard more user-friendly and quick in your face. So that waiting list that I just discussed briefly there, this is, oh, I don't want to go that quick. I apologize. There we go. Okay. That waiting list, I apologize about that. My screen just was really jumping. You think I got a cat on it. This is what it looks like. So once the booth selections are in, and where that little submit notify me if a slot opens, and by clicking that, it will put you on the notification list for it. And now I push the click button and it doesn't want to go. So I'm just gonna be patient and not double click. It's 8 o'clock. It knows it's my bedtime. So booth updates, there we go again. We are just having fun with this. No booth dates after cookie program has ended. So ideally, once the program has ended, you're not able to go back in and update and change. So we want to make sure that if anything is happening with booths throughout the program, that you're doing it as it happens in real life time. I don't know why it's clicking. I apologize, you guys. I'm about to go just right past it. So a question in the chat box will say that if the TCM, when we upload the TCM, oh, Marianne, you're answering it for me. Oh, thank you. It's once, so somebody was asking about seeing the boost on their dashboard and they aren't seeing it yet, and that you will see it after your information is set up. Thank you, Marianne. I was reading Marianne's response. I think I'm losing my mind with this quick one here. There is a troop booth selection timestamp that's on there, so we know who is asking for things at certain times, which are critical if there's 2 people asking for a my sale. So we know who is asking at what time. It does get down to the hour, trust me. The Troop app now actually helps out with the service unit cookie managers. If you didn't know that there is a eBuddy app, please use it. You can do almost everything on that app. They have integrated it even more. So you can even put in your booth selections, delivery sites, just all your needs, ins and outs. So if you are a phone savvy person and you like to work on those screens, the eBuddy app I would strongly recommend for you. All right, we're getting started. Even though I teased you before, we're really going to get into eBuddy now. This is what your dashboard should look like. Oh my, that was what your dashboard should look like when you log in. I'm going to click back to it. Just a second. Or maybe it won't. This is what your dashboard will look like when you get in. All your information is there at a glance. And I know we went over this a little bit before. It'll show you your girls, what they're selling, what your goals are, what your per girl average is. This one on this screen is showing they have a 127 per girl average in all of their booths. Your contacts tab. So when we're talking about who is in, who has access, who can see what, this is under your contacts. So right when you open up that eBuddy on that top tab, you'll see that blue bar. And if you open that, you can see it in this troop, there's 2 cookie chairs. One is our primary that would have been put in by council, and we have access knowing exactly which one is the primary. And that troop cookie manager wanted to put in another person who has full access, but you don't have to give them full access. You can give troop leaders view only where they can just see, because we want everything to be transparent. But be mindful if you do give access, that person's able to edit and you are responsible for anything that they do. I'm not scaring you with that. I just want to be mindful. So how do we add somebody in? That was the question earlier. So right here, you'll see that right next to the contacts is the settings tab, and then you click on edit settings. And once you get to here, you can then scroll down to see all the different options that are in there from your troop leadership team. While I'm on this slide, I'm going to show you that it says bank routing number. all bank information is put on by us. So if you're like, I don't see my banking information, it's because we haven't populated it yet. We don't want volunteers putting in the bank. Too easy to make, number, transpose, all sorts of stuff. We just take care of all that jazz on our side, and that's how come we have that secure authorization form that we have everybody fill out. So there is questions about what you can see on the dashboards. You will be able to see your cupboards and so forth on the dashboards, where you can also see what transactions that you have posted, any boosts that you have posted. These are new changes this year, so if you're thinking it's new and you didn't notice it last year, you're not crazy. It's new, it's great. We're quite happy with the changes that LBB has put into place. The next tab over from settings is girls, and this is where the girls are dropped down. So you can see what girls are in your rosters, and this would be like, hey, Belinda's not in my troop anymore. It's only Becky, Cindy, Jasmine, and Patty. You want to be letting your volunteer sports specialist know immediately, because that deadline is this Friday. So this is that tab, and where you would see that is underneath the girls. Hometown Hero Inventory. How did I end up back at that? I apologize. It's because it goes into the eBuddy. So because you do not take possession of the hometown, sorry, I thought it was like a duplicate from before, so I apologize. Since you do not take possession of those hometown cookies until the end of the program, these cookies should not be part of the cookie inventory during the program. And that becomes very sticky on how to go ahead and handle that. But what you're doing is you're entering all hometown hero cookie orders in the hometown hero column in eBuddy under each girl who sold them, and the record, the amount money collected for these packages. That way then it doesn't show that the girls have additional money. It's all clear across. And at the end of the program, use unsold packages that the troop still has in your cookie troop inventory to fill those hometown hero orders that you have. And the additional hometown hero cookies can be picked up from the cupboard. So really what we're saying is don't hold on to them like, well, I need these for hometown hero. No, keep selling the cookies that you have. And then at the end of the program, utilize the cupboard if you run out of cookies to fulfill those orders. That gift of caring, that girls ask the customer to buy cookies from the troop to be donated. And again, they don't take any physical possession of these. This is all done in the virtual world of the Girl Scouts. There is no order for the cupboard for an account for these virtual cookies. It is only done online, and the money is collected online also. So it allows it's all to be automatically calculated. This is why these are tossed in to throw me off, is because we are talking eBuddy, and there is a tab for both of this, and it is the GOC, the Gift of Caring tab. Because we are nationwide with Little Brownie Baker, we use different lingo than other councils, so it becomes confusing of why are you guys calling it this? It's just different lingo. But what to know is that we want to keep track of what hometown hero organizations that you're donating to, and so we have part of the reward is that if your troop is participating in the Hometown Hero program, you must fill out the Gift of Caring org tab with the organization's information. We want to know where these cookies are going. And then if you do that, it populates in, and the girls have met the requirement, they get their Hometown Hero patch. So if you're seeing that it says that you have to log it, this is where it's at, that far right side on that top blue bar in the eBuddy site. We have somebody on the chat asking about access. We need you to be having your ACH TCM agreement all approved for you to get access into eBuddy. I'm scrolling too, so I apologize. This initial order is right where we're at, you guys. This is where you should be feeling right now, is like, what are we going to do? So I will try to slow down a little bit for these upcoming slides, just to make sure we're all on the same page. So the initial order is the cookie order that the troop cookie manager places prior to the beginning of the program. This is so girls have cookies in hand for the first day of the program. These cookies will be picked up on delivery day. If you are a mountain area, it might be earlier than the February 1st, which is our big cookie pickup day, is that Saturday, February 1st. Sometimes it's a few days before and so forth to ensure that you have your cookies on the kickoff dates. Those are individual sites for some of those rural areas. And so Marianne's on, if you're any of those, she's definitely communicating with you with those options. But overall, our big pickup day is at February 1st. Initial orders are entered in packages, and eBuddy will convert them into full cases. So if you're choosing packages that is, let's say you choose 13 packages, which is crazy because why would you only want 13? But you choose 13 packages, it's going to round you up, not down. eBuddy's going to round you up to now wanting 2 cases rather than just that 1 case and 1 package, if that makes sense, because the cases are in 12. So just remember that eBuddy rounds up and it moves it to cases. So if you accidentally put it in the wrong line packages, it will make it look like you have an abundance of cases, and trust me, your service unit cookie manager or one of us at council are going to be calling you. So there's fail safes if that does happen, but if you're wondering what it is, that's what the system does. Don't hit submit until you have completed and double checked your order. You don't have to rush on it. Just take another breather, step away from it. Once you hit submit, you'll be locked in the initial order tab. You will be locked out of the initial order tab, but your service unit cookie manager still will be able to save your decision until they are locked out. And then once they're locked out, it goes to council and we are locked out, meaning that those cookies are now being sent to the warehouse to be prepared for each delivery location. We need that 2 weeks to plan and prepare. So by January 13th, 8:00 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, have that initial order in. On this side, on the right side, you can see where it's giving you like an estimate. This cookie breakdown is also on the website. So if you want to have the form for it, there is a cookie calculator that you can utilize on the Girl Scouts of Colorado cookie website. And that way then it will calculate for you on what you're estimating the girls are going to sell. But this is just a general breakdown of what you would get. This is, again, those initial order rewards that we discussed on what the girls get at the different levels. We have that first year troop and then the returning troops once they meet those levels, and the rewards that go along with them. TCM tips that are always important is that we make every effort to keep up with inventory needs throughout the cookie program, but we can't always guarantee it. I will be very honest with you. The only cookies we can guarantee to get to your troop are your initial order cookies. After that, we are ordering from Little Brownie, and as quickly as they can get it in, as quickly as they can make it happen for us and us to get them out to you. But the only guarantee to your troops that we can give you is on that initial order. Savannah Smiles were 6% of our sales per season, and we're expecting the Lemon Ups cookies to sell about the same percentage. Please do not go crazy and get its new cookie and we want to order a lot. Just order that basic guideline, and that if for any reason some people do order up, we can troop to troop transfer and so forth as needed. But stick along to that 6%. And again, that cookie calculator will help you find out what that average is. Our cupboards don't open until February 6th, which is the Thursday after the program starts. Keep in mind that forecasting to get you through. You don't want to be giving the parents every single cookie. Like this girl says she's going to sell 300, so I'm going to give you the 300 packages. I do not recommend doing that. I don't think anybody on our team or our council would. We would recommend that maybe you give her 150 to start out with, leaving that other 150 towards what she might be selling at booths, because that goal of her individually door to door might not be what she's going to be selling in addition at booths, and you need to make sure you have the cookies to help support that girl or the other girls at those locations. So what is always important is to save, push save. When you're putting in the cookie cupboard transactions too, there's 2 save buttons. It's a double save. We've learned that one the hard way. It's a double save. Don't learn that one the hard way. Try to think back to this training right now. But on this initial order, you will click on that tab that's right next to the girls. So we started with contacts, then it went to settings, our girls, and then now we're on initial order tab. And in here is where you will be putting in the order. You will put the order underneath the other line. So if you see any girls populated in years past, we have left the girls off of this so that way we don't allocate cookies to girls. You might know that Sarah's going to sell 100 and Jackie's selling 30 and so forth, but we don't put any cookies on the girl's name because they have not received any cookies yet. We only put in eBuddy what somebody has a signed receipt for. Somebody did ask, is there a way to see how cookies, or you can see, I like how you said never mind, but it's a really good question, so thank you for asking it. Is there a way to quickly see how many cookies of each type the troop has sold in past seasons? And what you do is that on the very top of your eBuddy bar, you'll see like 2019 season, then you'll see 2018. You can toggle back 3 years to see what the history is. If you are the new TCM, we still give you access to years past, so you're able to see what has been done prior. The TCM guide on page 31 is where we're at. So if you're ever wondering kind of what to do next and more just details about the initial order, page 31 is all your ins and outs and what to do. Once you have your initial order set for what you're having on the other line, not underneath girls, you will be submitting your initial order. And so this means you go to the initial order tab, top row of the dashboard. Troops will order the cookies in the entire troop at this point in time. That total amount of cookies are in packages and they're entered under the troop, remember, and converted up into cases. So you want to be mindful of that. When working in this tab, please remember to save. So even if you don't want to put your final submit, just save so you don't forget what you have done. Don't hit submit until the order is really ready. And then again, like I said, the only one who's going to save you for that first 24 hours is your service unit cookie manager. You're going to become best friends with them if you're that kind of quick saver. But don't wait till last minute to put in that initial order. It stresses out the service unit cookie manager along with all of us, with yourself. It really puts that deadline in for that if there's a computer error or anything happening, that it doesn't get captured. We cannot enter in an initial order after our deadline closes, which means you cannot pick up cookies until February 6th when the cupboards open. So you really don't want to wait till last minute in case there's any issues. So somebody just put in that they have the TCA agreement is approved, but when they log into eBuddy, it's blank. I would say it's blank because you were not approved for this year. So you're probably able to see last year, and even though you're thinking it's approved, you might have submitted, but not. So we can definitely help you with that, Gina. Maybe Marianne can pop a look in for you too. Gosh, I love it. Thank you, Marianne, for being on here with me. Teamwork. Again, that reminder, January, Monday is that initial order. So when you're filling out the initial order, it will populate up for you to choose rewards. Sometimes it will only already have the girls chosen for how many are registered in. So it won't say choose 13 girls because that's how many in, but it might have you put in for your goal getter, or your tabletop sign or your cookie tray. And so just be mindful, it's only 2 per troop. If you put in 4, we catch it and we fix it. If it's not allowing you to select, know that we will be populating through at the end too. There was a glitch the very first few days of January where it wasn't allowing us to put in the actual reward. So just make sure that you're able to put in the 2 trays and the 2 tabletop signs if you reached up to that level. It will prompt you and allow you, it will show you, like those will open up as options for you. And then submit your reward order too. And so that is the initial rewards that you want to be filling out. We're going to cruise on to page 31 in that TCM manual and get into the next big step. Now we know what our order is, we know what we want. Now we need to pick a delivery site. So we're going to click over to that delivery tab, which is next to the initial order. It's going right in line to keep us focused. You will submit your delivery time and location. This tab will also be where troops are able to select a cookie pickup and time location in eBuddy when the IO is placed. You cannot pick this before your IO is placed. It won't allow it until it knows how many cookies that you have in there. So to select your delivery site and time slot, go to that delivery tab. It's not going to prompt you there. You must click on it and choose a delivery site available time slot that best meets your needs. If you forget to do this, what ends up happening is we have to choose one for you and it might not meet your troops' needs. If the IO is large order, eBuddy will automatically select additional time slots to accommodate that order. So if you're needing 4 slots, it's going to choose 4 slots for you. Don't worry about it. We always need volunteers for our delivery sites. It's volunteer run. A lot of our staff go out, but we are not a heavy enough staff to run all of these sites. It runs about 15 volunteers to be there at any given time to make it run smoothly. If the delivery site's running slow, it could be because we needed more volunteers. So please keep that in mind. And that if you can volunteer before or after your pickup time too, so it doesn't have to be kind of around that. And you do not have to be a registered Girl Scout to volunteer at our delivery day site. So this is a great way to get some of those parents, dads, or so forth to get out there and have some fun. And amazingly, it really actually is one of the favorite days of Girl Scouts. Next to a rally, I don't think I enjoy anything more. I love going to the rallies, but delivery day is a lot of fun. So once the delivery time and location has been selected, just review it and then print the confirmation. And just make sure that you have a copy of this confirmation when brought with you to the delivery site. And that is really what's important. We want to make sure that you bring the right vehicle. Nothing's worse than when you show up in your little compact car when you really needed the cargo van. I giggle because it really does happen. It really does. Every year they're thinking you can fit it. Get the eggs out of the back. Don't bring no kids. Remember, siblings don't come along. We don't want the baby car seat in the back. Get all of that out. Make a clean, fresh car. And with that, we have an estimate on this tab that is also online too for resources that lets you know what we anticipate that you can get in the car. It's not perfect, but overall it does work. We want to make sure that you don't have anything valuable in the car when you're picking up, because the volunteers are just getting those cookies in and shoving them in there. So those cases are sturdy, but sometimes your speakers and gosh knows what that are sitting back there, eggs, are not. So the main delivery site distribution I discussed earlier does take place on February 1st, but if you are a rural community, again, we get those out and starting that January 29th and before to ensure that you're ready to kick off the program with everybody else. Cookies have to be picked up in one trip. So if you show up in a compact car and you should have had your sports utility vehicle, you are going to have to decide what you want to take with you, because you're not going to be able to come back. We cannot piece order meals. It is one trip through. So if you're waiting for additional vehicles to show up, we will pull you out of line and then bring you in when all cars are there. So you have to be a caravan going through. Once you receive those cookies, this now means the TCM is responsible for the cookies for the troop. You have signed off for them, and we are passing that responsibility on to you. And this is how come we have that troop authorization form must be already submitted to pick up cookies. And as I had mentioned before, we don't like to do it, but every once in a while we have to do a push through of people who have TCM agreements in, but might still be missing the ACH. And that means you get a lot of very aggressive emails from us once you're in eBuddy and we let you make an initial order. We have a small handful that we help out, but we want to always make sure that sometimes adult issues that kind of where it's new troops setting up a bank account that comes into time frame don't affect girls. And that's really our ending goal always. So delivery day, there's a checklist for this. We do have a delivery day training webinar that we're doing this year to hopefully kind of give that little jitters of what's going to happen day of. But let's go through it. Be on time. Show up on time and be ready to wait. Be patient with that too. Make sure you have your confirmation, and really that confirmation, we know if you're supposed to be there, but sometimes you bring that confirmation, you show it to us, we remind you that you chose Elitch Gardens, but you're at Castlewood View or Castle View or Sky Ridge, right? That you have to be at the location you chose, your cookies are there. So please be mindful when choosing a delivery site that you are choosing the correct one. If you arrive early to pick up cookies, don't block any loading area and make sure that everybody's with you as you're getting in line. You don't really pull into line until the assigned time, but it gives you time to make sure your whole party is there. I can't stress the patient and courteous enough. They're volunteers, and volunteers like myself who absolutely love to be there, so don't make us sad. You must remain in the vehicle at all times. This is the hardest thing, is that seatbelt's there for a reason. We want you to use it. Stay in the car. We will be yelling loud. You will hear them saying as the tree falls are going in, 2, 4, 6. If you can't hear when you move on to the next cookies, ask them to speak louder. That way you can hear it and see it kind of being put in. But we definitely train our delivery site volunteers, and the warehouses train their staff to talk loud, so that if you're sitting in the car and you're looking in that rear view trying to do a visual count, you feel comfortable with what's coming and going. There's always a location where you can pull off after to go ahead and check what you did get. But as soon as you get home, do your immediate count, and if there's an issue, get back there. So take the cookies out of the vehicle immediately. Sometimes it is a warm afternoon, which we're hoping we get again this year, and chocolate does melt quickly, especially my delicate tag-alongs. Double count the cookies. You can do it like at a off-site area, or do it as soon as you get in. You have 24 hours to let council know. So we are coming up with a delivery day a form that you can fill out, and so it goes quickly into our database, so we can hopefully take care of these in a timely fashion also, so it gets off of your eBuddy account. So let's say that we give you 8 extra Samoas, and you say, you know what, we're going to sell those Samoas, we'll keep it. You would notify your service unit cookie manager, fill out this form letting them know. It could take us a few days to fix your eBuddy to keep those in with your troop. Or you can say, you gave me 8 extra Samoas, we do not want these, I will be bringing them to a cupboard. And then when you get to the cupboard at the first time it opens, we then add it into the cupboard's inventory to make it accurate too. On the same side, if let's say you are shorted 2 cases of Thin Mints, you would notify us and let us know, and we would take those 2 cases off of your inventory, and you would just make a new order to go get them from the cupboard when you are ready. So those are the 2 spectrums that happen. We are human, we are counting the best we can, but little errors do happen. But again, very minimal errors in comparison to how many cookies go out on delivery day. Make sure that you are filling in all your due dates and contact information on the girl order cards when you give them out in the money envelopes. It helps that communication with the troop to make sure that they're giving you the stuff that you need in a timely fashion. And usually you're giving out a lot of that stuff to the girls on that cookie pickup date. Every package of cookie that leaves the TCM's possession is signed for with a receipt, so that we can't express enough. Damaged packages may be exchanged at any cupboard. And if for any reason there's a complaint about quality, you just let us know. We replace anything. A bad cookie is not a good cookie, so we want to make sure that you get the good cookie. Initial orders that are not picked up as scheduled on delivery day, I swear this rarely ever happens, but sometimes something does happen. They are taken back to the warehouse, which means you then have to wait until the next available pickup time is usually on February 4th on that Monday. And there can be a transaction fee of a transportation to take those cookies back. So we do not want you to miss the delivery pickup, because it not only hinders you, but causes a lot of a cluster on the in-between. So if for any reason, contact your service unit cookie manager if you have questions or any doubts. We're cruising along pretty good. Inventory management is also key to the success of the program. Inventory management isn't just from you counting at your house, giving out. It's when it goes to the booths. There's so many levels of inventory management. You want to make sure that you are keeping receipts at all time, that you are communicating with the girls and the parents as they are taking stuff, that you are making sure that everything is accurate as you are picking up from delivery sites or cupboards. It is definitely recommended that you seek a commitment from the girl and the caregiver for a minimum number of cookies that they want to sell, but be mindful that what they want to sell might not be what they're taking door to door, but what they also anticipate that help of the troop when they're doing booths and things together. So once the money of those initial cookies has been turned in, sometimes that point is when you want to give inventory, more inventory to them. We don't ask for someone to pay for cookies up front. As Girl Scouts of Colorado have trusted the TCMs and the troops to pick up the cookies, we are entrusting you to allow the parents the same. But as they are wanting more cookies, you are collecting money. And maybe they have too many trefoils that they're holding on to and they want more thin mints. Have them bring back the trefoils so you can sell them at a booth sale and give them some more of the cookies that they can sell. So just know to keep every transaction thoroughly documented in your receipt book. You can never have too many receipts, I promise you. Good communication is important. Ooh, I like someone's doing the TCM form. Maybe Marianne can help you with that service unit number. We have to have your service unit number when filling out the TCM form, and that is a 3-digit number. Some of us only know our fun names and not the numbers. Please make sure that if you are storing the cookies that you are doing it in a secure place that is free of any rodent, smoke, and temperature controlled, so that way then we're not melting stuff. Of course, those cookies can freeze, but we don't want them fluctuating too much in the temperatures. We want the best quality going out. And you also want to make sure you're communicating this with the caregivers, so that way then if they do ever bring cookies back to you to be selling at a booth, they're not bringing back cookies that have been contaminated in one sort of way or another. Girl Scouts does not take any refunded cookies back, so the troop definitely wants to be mindful of that. I have said more than once that if the troop works with the parent to bring cookies back, I would never recommend the last week of the program doing that. If you are going to communicate with any parents in your troop that if they have an excess inventory that they said that they could sell 200, but they're now only selling 100, set your deadline of when they must tell you that and bring the cookies back, and allow yourself 2 weeks at least to go ahead and sell those cookies at booths. You don't want parents bringing cookies back the last week and now you're stressing out trying to pick up booths and coordinating all these girls to sell those cookies. That is critical as an expectation at the beginning of what parents check out, what they're responsible for, what they have to keep, or what they're able to bring back. It's your guidelines, what works for you and your troop. Oh man, I should know Castle Rock off the top of my head. It's either 653 or 652. That doesn't help you because that was a guess, so I'm sorry, don't put that guess in there. Those long pauses are awkward for me. I'm sure they are for you too. We have moved on to the receipt book. I know I have expressed this the whole entire way through. Make sure that when somebody takes out the cookies that you're putting in your troop number, the date, the cookie variety, the packages, the signature of the adult, make sure it's legible, especially if this is a separated split family, that it's very clear on both sides who's picking up and who's taking, that it's working together. Those situations get sticky. I also keep a receipt book, so if somebody's turning in money only and they're not even checking out cookies, you get a receipt for that too. And we go ahead and write it over on the amount paid. That's kind of right here. So these extra parts help you, and that way they get a receipt that they paid and you get a receipt that was paid. I was always quick to go ahead and send out emails too, just acknowledging what was given to me, just in case for some reason I lose that receipt book. I've had some tips about this receipt book if you have already got your hands on it. I wouldn't use the first one. Sometimes people put tape over the first one and really start on the second receipts. That way then your book's good. I have also known TCMs who start in the back of the book. That way then your receipts don't, like your little papers aren't ripping off. So if you start in the back, you can kind of like flip forward if that makes any sort of sense. So just keeping receipts, we can't say it enough. There's a Taylor Swift song about that, keep your receipts. I definitely was off cue on that one, but there is no return policy on cookies. I clearly stated that a little bit earlier to Girl Scouts of Colorado, but we also want you to be mindful of how you accept cookies back into your troop. If a package of cookies is damaged, we will not make a troop responsible for that. And we can exchange those at any cookie cupboard for a non-damaged package. We do not refund it back into the troop or take it off, but we just exchange it for a different package of the same cookie variety. And what does damaged mean? It means either it's crushed, maybe sealed, and the package is empty. That happens. Unsealed packages, don't eat something unsealed. That's not what we want you to have or to sell, or returned by a customer for any reason. And just so you're aware too, on the side of the cookie boxes or packages, there is a number for Little Brownie Baker for any quality control or any complaints by customers. So they can also get a refund immediately from Little Brownie Baker. So there's that option too. The girl order tabs is where you will be documenting all of the orders. Underneath, so if you see the delivery, now we moved over to girl orders. Remember, girls don't have any orders until you have a parent signed receipt for the cookies. And once you have the receipt, you hop right into eBuddy and you start to add it in. You add the girls under the individual girl for pickups, booths, payments, made. So you can add in as many little things that you want per girl. What is important is that you're making little notes that are clear for you to understand. So if it's picking up on this date or money on this date, whatever it might be, that you make little notes that make it clear for you that you can go back to it. I was always known for numbering my receipts also, so then I would put what receipt number it was so I could trace it back. It does happen that there is financial issues in troops, and us making sure that we have all of these in order helps us at council clearly see where you're going, like where you were at in the program and the process through, along with the support for the volunteer. If there's having a discrepancy saying, I didn't check that out, but you clearly put in the dates and times and have it all. So it really does help all of us. It makes it clear, especially at the end, if it's not even an issue with the parent, that it's really what is up with these cookies. We use those receipts a lot of times to go back and help you figure out who should have got what and what's happening. So receipts are for so many reasons. I can't express it enough. But I feel like I still am, and I probably will talk about receipts for another 10 more slides, ladies and gentlemen. I'm waiting for it to, I'm clicking, but. So underneath the girl orders, this is just showing where you can add in the payment and the buttons that you click and then where it goes. And on that bottom line where you see that purple arrow is where you're entering the stuff in. If there is no cookies, you don't have to put zeros there. You would just put the payment in. So it can be either adding a transaction of girl picking up cookies or adding a payment where they have made. Underneath the girl orders, at the very end of the program, when it comes to closeout, we have to have a 0 in that bottom right hand. And again, I encourage everybody to utilize the TCM Manual for referencing this when it gets to the end, because you're going to be so cookie done, you are going to just wonder, what was it that I'm supposed to do? There will also be a closeout eBuddy webinar to kind of walk you through. But at the very end of the program, that difference line has to be 0, us meaning that you have allocated all cookies. And you will see next to that 0 where it's somewhere they have a positive one and a negative one. We don't care about the nitty gritty of how you allocated the varieties of it, as long as the numbers are good for the girl to get the rewards that she had earned, and that we balance out to 0. That is what's critical to us. And the balance to the 0 means that we as council can close the program and start to get rewards, and everything else get over to the girls. There is a cookie exchange feature in eBuddy. It was new last year. We had a lot of great reviews from it. And this is a way that if for any reason you have too much inventory, you are over ambitious on one of your cupboard pickups, that you can utilize a cookie exchange to connect with other volunteers locally to exchange cookies. Troops are always able to view the cookie exchange tab throughout the program, and it is statewide. So be very mindful of who you're communicating with. And what is very important is the troop who adds it into eBuddy is the one who took the cookies. So if I'm the receiving person, I'm the one who puts it into eBuddy. That way then people can't just dump off excess inventory, right? So if I meet up with Marianne to trade cookies, Marianne then we'd have a receipt exchange, that receipt book. We would exchange a receipt showing that we had a troop to troop transfer, and Marianne would be the one who's entering it into that she received it from my troop. So, but we can get into those screenshots too. But cookie exchange, you will see it is one of the tabs on the top blue bar that you would click on the cookie exchange. And then there is a way where you can remove what you were offering and where you can update packages to exchange. Have the package of the cookies to exchange with other troops. This is the best way to communicate with them without getting on a Facebook site or utilizing a service unit means. If you are utilizing this cookie exchange and it is for cases and abundance, you have 8-10 cases extra, please make sure you're communicating with your service unit cookie manager immediately. They're also going to be able to assist you. Cupboards also might know of troops who are putting in large orders and help you get rid of cookies. We don't want any troops with extra cookies at the end of the program. We know that our girls sell heavy, but we don't want them to be heavy on a debt to be paid of cookies. That means that they don't get to enjoy Girl Scouts and the activities. The whole intent is so that they can go ahead and grow in Girl Scouts and have activities of their own. Oh, we had somebody welcome. Someone was voluntold. She liked to use the word nominated to be the TCM on the chat box. Voluntold is also the other way, but nominated is great. It doesn't take long. Marion is correct. If you don't have your TCM agreement and background done, we can get it all through. We can get it within even 48 hours and get you in before Monday. If we can't do the roster check, we can figure things out to help you. So this next screen just shows you where that cookie exchange is, and again, how to go ahead and enter it in. That you use the troop user's email, the service unit name, and the troop number. And that way then it can connect and show where they are going. I believe this is on page 33 in the TCM manual. So if you are still with me, 34, I apologize. Is when we get into our receipts and all of those guidelines and payments. So when it comes to that cookie exchange, just make sure that if you don't need it you're taking it back off, because it has to be removed from you or people are going to keep contacting you. So if you're tired of people asking you for the lemons, it's you leaving it on there. So remove it when you're done. When it comes to the troop to troop transfer that we had discussed, I said is the troop that is receiving the packages of cookies will complete the cookie transaction. So under the cookie transaction tab, you will go ahead and open it up. You see where it says second party is a troop. You have the other troop that gave you the cookies. You put in what you got your information, and you are adding the product. You guys do not have the ability to remove product. You can only add, and that is how come the person receiving has to put it in, and they will push OK and save it. So that way then it goes through. If you are the troop that gave the cookies and you don't see that within 48 hours, 72, whatever was agreed upon you and the other troop, reach out to the troop. If you're having ongoing issues that push it close, let the service unit cookie manager know to get involved. We are here to help you. And if it gets up to us at council, we will help too. It's very rare, I would say, that we've ever had an issue with somebody not putting in a troop to troop. It's more of like, oh my gosh, I forgot, not a big deal. Here we go. Troop to troops usually are, we're an on your honor. We try to live by the Girl Scout law and promise and being fair to each other. So we don't really ever have any issues with troop to troops. I would be mindful though that cigarette smoke, we ask for you not to have any of these things around the cookies, but if you are to troop with somebody, be mindful that they don't smell like smoke or anything, because you're taking responsibility for those cookies. So we do have the cupboard rule of 72 hours. We will get to cupboards too here in a bit. So we're going to move on to digital cookie. I'm going to try to speed it up a little bit to be mindful of our time. I know that we still have just almost an hour, but I want to make sure that we have a little bit of time for questions that we aren't kind of segueing on the side. Again, Marianne, thank you so much for answering those. The DOC is an online program that allows Girl Scouts in Colorado to sell cookies to friends and family only. There are many benefits to using this DOC. It includes ideally that the girls in this generation, now this is everything that they do, right, is having that online and virtual skills and ability, and it expands that business from door to door and boost to the outside web of extra family and extended who want to support the girl. They also can go through the gift of caring option through this DOC, which allows there to be a no shipment, which I'm sure I'm going to say again here in a moment, so I apologize when I do. Council must have a girl registered in our system for a girl to participate in the DOC, and that is what's important, is that if she does not have a registration membership with us, we will not be sending out an email to her. So if you have a girl that transferred into your troop from out of state, maybe New Jersey, we are a military state, so sometimes, or even just people travel, it's Colorado, we all want to be here, right? But if you have a girl who came from California, Texas, or somewhere who entered into your troop this year, we want to make sure now that their membership is truly connected to Girl Scouts of Colorado, because when we activate this DOC email, DOC digital order card email, they usually don't get it, and it's because their membership is still in another state. So just to be mindful of that if you do. And it goes out to the caregiver email address for each girl. Unless you're over 13, it would go out to the girl's email that's on file. And you make changes to any of those emails that it's going to be going out to on your MyGS Girl Scout site. So if you're telling a parent about this at the parent meeting, you want to make sure that they're aware of what the email is and that it's in their ability to let you know if it's the wrong email. The digital cookie is really as easy as 1 through 4 right in front of us. You register, which is done. They'll send you out the link. You register in it. You set up your site. You invite your customers, and then you get to track your goals. Through this DOC site, they actually have badge earnings that you can track that too, where girls are going to kind of say what they're doing and what badges that they're going to be working towards earning too. So it's definitely a great online platform that grows year after year. And this is where we take a lot of our online payments too. So there's perks to this. Our DOC allows in-hand orders. These are placed using the mobile app. And you will see that there is zero inventory as the girls, the cookies sold have already come out from the allocated inventory. So what that means is it's not saying that there's any cookies because they're not bringing in more cookies. You have already on the line that's above this said that this girl checked out 144 cookies and now she's selling cookies. So it's not getting rid of it, which causes a lot of confusion, but it takes away the money. So in the end, people say, well, hey, she has more money collected than the cookies. It's supposed to balance out, and it balances. Don't overthink this. But when you see all the zeros, you're like, but she sold and it asked me to put in trefoils. It goes over to the money and not the actual cookies in there. And this is where at the end sometimes too, where the varieties end up coming at those negatives and positives. It could be from in hand or balance. So the transaction does reflect only the payment that's subtracted from the balance that's due for the girl. DOC, once it is activated, they receive that step 1, that email address that contains the instructions how to go ahead and set up the site. The site does not become live until February 2nd when our program starts. That's important too. So even if they're setting up something, they can't send anything out. All DOC online orders will automatically be imported into eBuddy and credited to the girl, and funds credited to the troop in eBuddy. That means it is automatically going to be a negative amount of what you owe council at the end. Shipping and handling fees are paid by the customer. You just watch for the emails once the programs get going. We usually send it out here, I believe, right at the end. We will send out an email to all, and end of January, sorry, and does not help you at all, end of January to get to all the parents. And once they get it, they just click the green button on the email, they create that password, they watch the safety video, which goes over online safety for the girls, and then they can start getting into it. Sorry, you can start getting into it for the troop level. The 3 ways that the girls can sell is either through donated cookies, that virtual gift of caring, which does not have any shipment fees or anything. So it makes it very easy for friends and family out of state. The direct ship does have shipping fees that are paid for by the customer. It's not competitive in any ways. We are not Amazon Prime, but there's a fee to it and it balances out in the end, and it's as competitive as it can be for it. So if people feel the shipping fees are expensive, they're doing the best and constantly making improvements every year. Will it have, a question is for DOC report, does it include a timestamp this year instead of just the date? I don't believe so, and I think what you're asking for is a timestamp stating, so if it's like at a booth versus if it's with a parent and so forth. I don't believe there's a timestamp this year that has been added on. Marianne, if you know of that, if you want to interject. I'm not perfect, you guys. I'm the cookie guru who just still has, you know, a little bit of a cloudy glass here. Mobile app is also another way where the girls are able to sell in the DOC, and this is where we really see it the most. It's the DOC in hand option. So where you see DOC DON, D-O-N will be a donation, DOC ship, and DOC in hand. These are how they're showing up on eBuddy, and you wonder what those little acronyms mean. But the in hand is when the girl goes door to door or at the booth. And be mindful that if you use the DOC underneath Jackie at the booth, it's all going to take all that payment out of her. So underneath her transaction tab, you'd want to make a negative for that money. That way, then it's not just coming out of her amount owed, and yet can be allocated back evenly amongst the girls who participated at the booth. There's going to be a slide up, so I hope I make more sense with that without a visual. So what's important to know about this is that bottom part, that all DOC orders are automatically recorded in eBuddy. DOC in hand orders are recorded differently in eBuddy than DOC donations and ship. Shipped and donation orders use inventory from the bakery, which are recorded in eBuddy. They add cookie packages to the troop's inventory. In hand uses the inventory that the troop already has in their possession. So there's a separation. Remember, the girl already had 144 allocated to her, so the money's coming in because she's getting rid of the cookies. It doesn't allocate in unless it is a donation or a ship. Council booths. Booths are so important. It is really that face of Girl Scouts out there and where girls will make most of the impacting sales. Council booths are sites in eBuddy with dates and times for troops to reserve. There's going to be 5 rounds that are offered for troop sign-ups. And let me see if I can find out what page in the eBuddy guide. I believe page 23 is the booth rounds. I failed you. It's not. I'm going to not focus on what page it is. Just know that there's 5 booth rounds and offered for troop signups. Page 8, thank you. They're on page 8 too. See, ladies, it's team. We're all here together. So page 8 is where you can find those rounds as they go through. Round 5 will stay open for the duration of the program to select council booths. Some council booths will be open on February 2nd, but other council booths again start in that midway through. The TCM signs up for troops or individual families through eBuddy. So even though the troop is going to do a booth, families might want to also go out and have an extra booth because a girl has an ambitious goal to make an extra trip somewhere and getting those cookie credits, right? So please be mindful of talking with families if they're going to be doing booths on their own. Also be mindful that if they sign up for something, they're attending it. They're not going to be releasing it last minute. No council site can be contracted for a My Sale booth. So if we have a Lowe's off of Powers in there, that Lowe's you cannot contact. You can contact the Lowe's down the street, but not that one that's in there. So anything that is showing up as a council booth, you cannot set up a My Sale at that location. My Sales are for anything that we do not have already listed. There is a release for a reserved booth site, which is a new feature, and oh my gosh, huge. It's great. So once you're on the calendar on the dashboard, because remember now our booths are going to be showing up on the dashboard, you click that booth date that you want released, and when you hit released, it's gone. You don't get it back. You don't be like, oh my gosh, I made a mistake. I didn't want that. Don't even open up that booth to be released and go near that button if you don't want to release it. But that is great because then now it used to be you had to wait for the Service Unit Cookie Manager to release it, but now you're able to release across the board and it'll automatically populate for whoever's on that wait list. I like it. So somebody had asked, when does the booth rounds open? And it is for the first booth sign-ups it starts at 6 p.m. is when they open and they close at midnight. And we used to have a midnight opening where people would complain that why do we do it at midnight? Because, you know, systems aren't as boggled down at late at night. But we didn't enjoy staying up to midnight either. So we did switch it per volunteers' request, and it's been working out good for us. This is showing you where to enter them in. We have gone through all these tabs and we've just passed girl orders, right? So now we're on to boost sites. And this is where you're going to be able to go ahead and pick up boost sites and also enter in my sales at this point. It will show you where a slot, and once you put your little name in there, you have to push the submit, save, submit. If you ever see that, touch it and make sure. But this will let you go ahead and choose from a drop down if you know what city that you want in choosing one of the ones in that area. So if I was to choose that San Diego, that Lowe's, that date, it then drops down the time frames that are available underneath it. If it's green, it's good to go. If it's blue, it's booked up and go to the next one. A My Sale booth site, we have discussed it a lot, but what is that? A My Sale booth, again, is what the volunteers set up. Juliets are able to do all the My Sales. This is down to that girl level that you can set up whatever you want. You get to choose any of those booth sites too, just the same as an active troop. Your Juliet gets out there and gets at it. I think one thing I did not state, I apologize, Juliet parents, is that the reward order card, remember when I talked about troop proceeds, Juliets do not receive troop proceeds, only the girl reward. So they can utilize the cookie credits for activities of travel, and then they get any of the physical rewards that they choose. But you do not receive troop proceeds. So I want to be clear on that. Remember, not a council booth site, so it can't be King Soopers, Walmart, Safeway, any of those. And TCMs can enter these in on January 20th. The cookie cupboard or the product program specialist, service unit cookie manager, even a cookie committee member might approve this site or let you know if it's denied. And so once you receive the approval from the location manager, remember we discussed whether it's verbal or written and how to follow through with that. The caregiver must contact the TCM for assistance so they can put it into the girl or into the system to make, or you can put it into the system and the TCM will approve it. I am so sorry. I did that so backwards and read it. I apologize. Once you have it approved, even if a caregiver gets one or another parent in the troop wants one, the TCM puts it into the system, an e-buddy for the product program specialist, the service unit cookie manager, or cookie committee member to approve. And then if for any reason it's denied, it will let you know why it's denied. It might be denied due to not being a safe location, too close to a road, that somebody else is already at that location, or that maybe a management of a strip mall has asked us not to be there, which is very unfortunate, but that does happen too. And really this goes back to that Girl Scouts of Colorado allows the troop leaders and families to determine the best location for their My Sales. All My Sales sites are subject to that approval, but will not be denied on the fact that they are located near an adult-oriented business. I know that we discussed that a little bit earlier. So when you're in there underneath that booth site tab, there will be this little part where it says My Sales. You could click on that. It would have said Council a few slides back. But when you take that drop down, it says for the My Sales, and just fill in all the areas, put in what the location is, the address. Your name is not okay for the manager and who is approval. We want to know who the manager was that gave approval. That way, then if there is a conflict or something happening or any sort of emergency, we know who we're supposed to be contacting and who the manager was that said we had rights to be on their property. So if a service unit cookie manager denies you because it says that you put yourself in as the manager, I hope that you own that flower shop or so forth. So you might want to be communicating with your service unit cookie manager if that is it. Like if it's a 7-Eleven and you are the manager and approving it, just to be mindful of that, because some of our service unit cookie managers look through every detail. So. This is really just showing you what it might look like. So if you are denied or approved, these are showing reasons why it's been denied, that somebody is already there, but it's just a list of saying what's approved and what's not. And that way it's very clear. And again, if you have any questions, always reach out to your service unit cookie manager. So this is kind of where I was discussing earlier, where you might, if you use your DOC at a booth and it is underneath one girl, but you need to disperse that money amongst everybody, you might make a negative transaction against that money under the girl stating, you know, booth DOC. And you go underneath this booth sites. So far tab, we jumped way past rewards to booth sites. And in here is where you would be logging in any of your boosts that you went out to. So green highlighted boosts, donate boosts that have not been recorded, and gray means that you have. This is one of the best ways to disperse the cookies amongst the girl and keep it easy for you to think about what is the allocation and how much did so-and-so earn when she was somewhere. So really what you do is once you have it open and you have the booth that you're adding to, you enter the total number of packages that were sold at the booth sale. Remember to separate out core cookies from specialty cookies because they are a different price. And then select the girls that participated in the booth. It will give you a drop down. So select all that were there and unselect the ones who were not, so they did not participate, and then click distribute. And what this will do is it will take the cookie packages and the money, it will be distributed amongst the girls. And you can edit it if needed if you want to move it around a little bit, but after the changes are made, you go ahead and click submit the sale, and it populates it immediately onto the girls' dashboard and separates it out with money paid, cookies, and so forth. This also really, really helps us at council know what booths are good for volunteers. And we keep hearing years past, we used to say, hey, King Soopers on average brings about 200 packages in an hour. It was because we had people utilizing these booth site recorders, and so we could use that data. So I cannot encourage you enough to use it for the simplicity of your allocation of cookies and for also that council support moving forward. What are the hugs on the side? I don't see the HUGS on this slide. It's a column that says it, and I apologize that I am space cadetting completely about something that has to be right in front of me, and if it was a snake, it would bite me. Oh, Hometown Heroes, maybe? No. Hometown Heroes not. Was it on the slide before? Next to total packages, I'm not moving.
Laura?
Yes, it is.
And I think you're right. It's the Hometown Heroes because the next column is the gift of caring.
Thank you, Marianne. That wasn't me. That was Jamie who said it. There was somebody on there. She's the one who Hometown Hero ? You gave me the first thought. So yes, thank you, Marianne. I believe that's exactly what it is those donations that were brought in. Moving along, we are on to page 38 in the TCM manual. So if you're following along, we are definitely getting to that back portion, and it's the cookie locator. This is important because I said that you can't have a my sale that somebody else has already approved for, right? And so you can go into the cookie locator and see if somebody else has already requested the Lowe's at a certain location or a Walgreens or the Bentley's pet store by putting it in there before you even enter it in for approval. And I will say that even though you might not see it on the cookie locator, that does not mean that another troop has already got it in pending and the service unit cookie manager just hasn't had the opportunity to get to it yet. So but all booths in eBuddy include my sale booths will be uploaded into the cookie locator. And this is how friends, family, just customers can find out where cookie booths are going to be at. They search by zip code and it populates everything that's in there for that area. And I promise you every year, every year we get a small little handful of customers who, and it might be more than a small, call and say that we use the cookie locator, that girls weren't there. And it's unfortunate, right? If we don't show up to the booth, it not only affects other people's sales, but the customers are like, I drove out there and they weren't there. Because when they're noticing that girls aren't coming door to door, customers will utilize this by going onto our Girl Scout website and putting in the cookie locator. This is where our customer care directs them to, or any of us at all times. So just make sure to keep your booth scheduler and eBuddy up to date throughout the program so that customers are able to find you, really is that main big point. And that's why we don't put personal addresses in, because it's open to the general public. Okay. And that's how come also for the Juliets, why we switched your IDs. It used to be first and last name. And so when a Juliet would choose a booth of some sort, it would populate that girl's name, and that we felt was a breach of safety for them when somebody would come up to a booth. And I'm a firm believer in a Girl Scout camp name, and that poor Daisy Girl Scout who chose Daisy when she was a Daisy Girl Scout was a Daisy all the way through seniors. So but having those camp names means that you're in our special Girl Scout clique where somebody could come up and say, hey, Sarah Jones, and start a conversation with the girl as if they know them on a different level. So we've actually changed now, so our Juliets only show last name, first initials. And that is hopefully to keep them a little bit more safe. So just another side note with that. Cookie cupboards are where you go get extra cookies if your initial order is not going to see you all the way through. or all the way through at least the first 2 weeks. These are strategically located across the state. We do the best to have them within, 40-minute drive at most from wherever you're at. That might sound like a lot, but some of us in the city, we sit at a dead stop going to wherever we're going. And some of you on those country roads are driving just for a minute to get there. So it's almost even kilter across the board. And some of you are lucky and the cupboard is literally right around the block from you. But this is where you go to get more cookies to keep the girls' goals going throughout the program. But be mindful that once you check out the cookies, you cannot return them. And cupboards do not open until that February 6th. So you need cookies to make it through at minimum that long. But we recommend for another week or two, you should have already had cookies for. So what are types of cupboards? Just so you're aware, we do have warehouse cupboards that where you can pick up cookies. There is that is ran by our actual warehouse where our cookies get deployed to, and that they actually have a staff member there that works with us to go ahead and get the cookies out. Those are far few, not usually in this metro area, but more of the rural areas. Council cupboards, we this year only, I believe, up in Grand Junction will have a council cupboard, and that is where these locations are secured by staff of Girl Scouts of Colorado. They could be storefronts, trailers, storage facilities, and so forth. And right now, Grand Junction will be having a council cupboard to ensure that the troops in that area have cookies that they need. Marianne's done a great job to get a volunteer who's coming up there. I'm excited for this change, so I'm sure she is too. Volunteer cupboards, which is the majority of our cupboards, they're a volunteer just like you. And at the end of the night, when you're picking up cookies and you're tired and you're upset, they are also tired and they are done. And sometimes they have the biggest smile on their faces and you think they are 2 steps of Girl Scout fun crazy because you're like, how are you so happy schlepping cookies? And they're getting their case workout on. So please be mindful that they are volunteers. They have lives, they have families, they have other responsibilities, and that they just want to bring the cookies to your girls to reach the goal. So be respectful of them at all times, please. There is a direct ship option that is only for rural people. Marianne on this call, who is actually our product program senior specialist, oversees the direct ship site a lot and monitors that if a troop puts something in there that we are not shipping to you, it's really for our people who are out in those border towns and far out where it's going to take hours for us to get cookies to you. And they're usually not very large orders, but something just for us all to be mindful of. We try our best to be inclusive to get cookies to everybody. Right there, that general guideline, I said it, cookies are not to be exchanged at the cupboard. And so whatever you check out, you have. The only way to exchange any cookies is from a troop to troop, really, is that if you want to get rid of them, finding a troop that might need them, unless it's damaged, of course. Any discrepancies in a cupboard order must be reported within 72 hours of pickup. We have changed our system, which we'll go over in another few slides. It has minimized how many issues that we actually have. You can order out of a cupboard by either packages or cases. We don't want you to pick up more cookies than you need, so we don't want you rounding up. So if you just need 2 packages to make Sarah's mom happy because she wanted those 2 Thin Mints, put the package order in and put her in as a booth pickup person and have her go over and get it. Cookie pickup should be made by the TCM or troop leader or somebody who has been approved in there. So TCMs must notify the cupboard manager if someone else will be picking up cookies, but you will need to be really making sure they have a sign up, which I will show you. The TCMs will sign a receipt at the cupboard. It could, depending upon if you're in a rural area where they might not have the electronic signatures going with our app that I will show you, you might still have a paper receipt. And that would be one of those situations where you want to let that cupboard know that somebody else is picking up rather than you, because they wouldn't have that online option. We can shout this at the rooftops. You need to place your cupboard order 72 hours prior to pickup. That allows us the best chances of making sure that the cookies are there. But again, there's no guarantee that cookies are at a cupboard. We only guarantee your initial order. So please be mindful of that. We did overall, I think, one of the best years ever in history, keeping our cupboards at least to what they needed to fulfill the orders. But troops need to remember that that 72-hour pickup also falls for your 72 hours of like, oh, I'm putting it in 72 hours from now, I'm going to go. That cupboard has to be open in that 72 hours, right? So make sure that you're choosing a cupboard that when it's 72 hours, you're putting it in so you're picking it up at the right time. So if your cupboard's only open Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you want to be mindful of when you're putting that in for pickup, or you might end up having to pick up a little longer than 72 hours, if that makes sense. So just be mindful of that. When you are underneath the cupboard tab and you're putting in your transaction to add a transaction there, it will tell you the hours of operation for the cupboard. It will also let you have an option up here where it says map it, even though on the dashboard it will show you the closest cupboard, but you can also map it here too, just to ensure you have the right cupboard. Or you know what, I really want those cookies, I'm driving to Pueblo, I don't know. But this is really where all of that will happen. You will see any one-off things. We have an amazing gentleman out of Castle Rock, Rob, who is a firefighter. So his hours fluctuate all the time, but the troop leaders love him and they are willing to work with his fluctuations of the hours. But he has them in it with enough time that the 72 hours doesn't cause an issue too. So just to be mindful to always check the hours. They can change at any point in time. But the staff ones overall, Marianne, stays the same. Yeah, Rob is awesome. He really is, actually. And his lab likes the lemon cookies. So his lab has an issue on eating lemon cookies. Our cupboard managers have a bad dog. Our cupboard managers become family, just like all of you, really. But they give so much of their personal time with their home. We can never say thank you enough for what they do and their patience that they have. Because on top of the times you're picking up cookies, they wait at their home for a 4-hour time block for cookies to be delivered. And sometimes these garages can take 2 or 3 hours to empty out and stack. So they are dedicating days to even get the cookies for you from taking off of their job. So it's okay to hug a cupboard manager. It really is. They would appreciate it. Trust me. But so once the troop enters an order into eBuddy, it is locked, okay? Only the cupboard person is who can change it. So if for any reason you don't want to pick up that order, if you don't go get it, that cupboard manager is probably going to go delete it within 48 hours. Usually they contact you to say, hey, you didn't pick it up. Are you still wanting to keep it? You need to come get it. So it's not holding up inventory that can be used for another troop that needs it immediately. But just be mindful of that the cupboard has to delete it out. If you're noticing that you didn't pick up something that hasn't been deleted and is left on pending, just reach out to that cupboard manager. If for any reason you don't know their contact information, the service unit cookie manager or your product program specialist will get it for you. I've said it about the volunteers. I'll say it till I bleed. They are just amazing, and that we need to remind everybody, even the parents picking up, that they're volunteers. Girl Scouts, we really do strive to make sure that all the inventory is in the cupboards and that meets the needs of the troops in the area. But we really don't know the successes of each troop on the weekend and what the flow is going to be. And so we don't know if the flow is going to be this weekend that we need hundreds of cases of Thin Mints and next weekend only 10. So we do the best that we can, but putting in that 72 hours really helps us work diligently on our side to restock the cupboards that are needed in a timely fashion. I discussed an eBuddy or an eBuddy cupboard keeper app. None of you, no TCMs download this. This is downloaded by the cupboard manager. And so what the cupboard manager will have is an app that when you come up to pick up the cookies, they will pass their phone or a device to you, asking you to put in your password or your information, your eBuddy login information. It will then log into the pending orders of eBuddy that's showing for your troop. They, at that point in time, can make any edits to it, and they will electronically send a receipt to you. And you are there for the whole approval part. Somebody had asked a question earlier, how do I get a parent to be the person? So I'm not the TCM having to do it, because a good TCM has all their parents helping, whether it's parents who want to run the booths. Get those dads out there. They want to be cookie daddies too. Get them out at those booths. Daddy-daughter booths are so much fun. Mother-daughter booths are fun. Valentine's Day booths, your special sweetie. That's always fun, right? Utilize them for that. Have them come help out on delivery day. Have them come out when it's reward time to separate out the rewards. Have them go pick up the cookies. But make sure that they are keeping their receipts and being responsible with you too and communicating properly. So earlier when we were in eBuddy, we were underneath the settings tab, and that's where I said that you can add in like a troop cookie chair or a view person, and this is where you would add somebody in for a troop cookie pickup. I have selective reading, and I rarely like to read what I'm supposed to, and I usually do that on the avatar patches, where that when you push submit, it sends out your avatar patch, but I still want to edit it, and that's in the fall program. Gets me every year, but it very boldly says above not to push save until you're ready to go. Neither here nor there. Some people don't read this red little warning. And yeah, make sure you know your password, because nobody can help you with that password. You can do forgot password, but it slows you down at the cupboard. So just know, but yeah, make sure that you know the password and your email that you use. But if you put in, let's say that you put somebody in, so Marianne is the TCM of the troop, and she wants me as the troop leadership team to have access, and she puts me in as a troop cookie chair too, so I can get in there and move stuff around and do whatever is needed and be her basic support. But then she goes ahead and puts me down here as a troop cookie pickup user only. She has locked me out of eBuddy completely. So when you put somebody down here as a troop cookie pickup user, it will only allow them to have this view or this ability. It will take away the higher hierarchies that are in there, and the highest you can be is at that troop cookie chair. So if you put somebody in here On our end, if they're like, well, something's wrong and I lost all my view, this is our first problem solution is somebody probably put you in so you could pick up cookies and it blocked out your actual true view. Because if they're picking up cookies, they're not having access into your system and changing stuff. They're literally just able to go to the cupboard to pick up. So I tangented on that for a bit because every year we get troops who put somebody in there who shouldn't be there and it blocks out their actual ability. So in here is just showing you once you're underneath a tab that's kind of hard to see, but that top tab where it says the transactions, you add a transaction, you're putting it in the cupboard, it all goes through to the cupboard. It's clearly on the cupboard side that they're seeing now. So it's showing you just like a shot of what their phone would look like, of what you're picking up if you want to make any changes and so forth. And again, it'll show all their hours of operation and visibility just so you can quickly see too. So the app's amazing. It's been great. Remember, troops cannot edit a pending order once it's saved. So once you push in for the cupboard, you said yes. The only way to change that is when you go to pick up the cookies, and this would be an ideal of what you will see is you put in your email, you put in your password, it will pull up what you're wanting, and you said, you know what, no, I don't want that Savannah Smile, which is lemon ups. I don't want those lemon ups anymore. I just want the thin mints. You make the edit at that time, and then it's all saved. It sends an email to you, to anybody else you put in access into eBuddy, so you know if somebody else went picking up cookies before you wanted them to. So everybody in eBuddy underneath your troop gets an email confirmation that somebody picked up cookies, the cupboard, and then you. So it keeps it very clear. And again, 72 hours, and be mindful of how that 72 hours falls with what cupboard you're using. And this is just an example of what the confirmation would look like, of just that you have put in an order and it has been picked up. We're into that closeout, and so this is where our brain's slowing, right? So I'm going to go right through it. I was hoping to be done right about now, but I'm still going, ladies and gents. I'm feeling good, though. Marianne's probably laughing at me talking to myself over here because getting through these slides and making sure we don't go too fast is what's important, but we want to make sure that you also get all the information that you really need. So I am clicking over, so I apologize. Close out in eBuddy. Again, I would pop onto one of those webinars. This is all inside of your TCM manual with screenshots to know on what to do and where to go. So you have to make sure all your cookies are allocated to girls, that you've filled out all of your rewards, verify information on the sales tab report, print and sign your sales report for your service unit cookie manager if they are asking for it. We do ask that you either physically meet with your service unit cookie manager, have a phone call, email, some sort, so that they can just help you go through the closeout process. So you're not like flying by the seat of your pants, not knowing what you're doing, and have that extra support. So they are there, and every service unit cookie manager has a little bit of a different flow that works best for them. So underneath the transactions tabs, you're going to make sure that everything is accurate and logged in here that matches your receipts. If for any reason things aren't matching up, this is when we go back to our receipts, we go back to our booths, and we have our service unit cookie managers there to help you to make it balance out. So you're adding your transactions in that you should have been doing throughout the whole program. Do not wait to the last date. A lot of people like to wait to allocate cookies and boosts to make it fair across the board, and a lot of times those are the troops we're helping out because they waited and they didn't have it clear the whole way across. So remember that underneath the girl orders is where they are going to have the actual girl breakdown of what she has sold. And this is important to make sure that you're putting it in properly so the girls get the rewards that she deserves. Going to keep on clicking. The difference line, once we know that we are balanced out, should equal out to 0 on the bottom. Once cookies are allocated to everybody properly, it will end up at that 0. And talking about this balance at is on page 40 of the TCM manual. So if you do want to look at that. This is all selections need to be made for the girl, and this is underneath the rewards tab. So we've clicked over next to the transactions and are on the rewards tab. And so it says if it's in that green, it means that something is still needed to be done. If you have a girl who has not made a reward selection in your troop, and the caregiver has not responded, always choose the physical reward. Do not choose the cookie credit. It is very easy for us at council to generate a cookie credit, but we cannot make a butterfly pop out of a cocoon. We cannot. That's not in our abilities. We have to order those physical rewards on the front end. So we would rather know that you chose the butterfly, but the girl really wanted the cookie credit, because we can easily use that butterfly if needed for a different girl that maybe there was a reward issue and issue out a cookie credit. So when in doubt, fill it out as a cookie or as a physical reward for the girl. And then if they're not happy, we all help and make that all better. If it's in green, it means that something is still needing to be done. If on that very top up here, so you click the rewards, it'll say the final rewards, and then you click view and then submit from there. So this is just showing what the breakdown would be. So once you're underneath for the troop, like how many are coming out and for each individual girl. So this girl sold the 680 packages. She even was at the booth. So it shows the breakdown of everything in her shirt size. And then you can submit the girl order once you know that all her rewards are proper. I will tell you a tip that I've always done is that when my troops would come pick up the cookies from us, we would have the reward sheet that we had already given to the girls at the, so like there's a printout that we have that has the reward options, and we have the girls at the troop meetings usually sign and circle what they want, or I have them do that when they pick up their cookies, and then I have the parents sign it too. And the girl can still change those rewards, but if they don't let me know what else they're wanting on that, like he's right, it's the dream too, even to make it up to the high levels, and they circle away. But if they don't tell me what changes they want, I will go off of that when I go ahead and place. So that is a great time while you're counting out the cookies. If you don't have time at a troop meeting, have the girls sit there when the parents are counting it out and circle what rewards are that they want. And that way then the parent knows what the girl is working for and that it's clear for you all at that same time, keeping it transparent. We discussed that Give program and how you can donate back into Give. And so once you're underneath the rewards, there will be an option that you'll see right here where the TCM can add individual girl donations out of their cookie credits and or troop proceeds on the rewards tab. So on the rewards tab, when you're in there, you will see this populate. If you do not want to donate, you leave it at 0. There is not required to go ahead and give, but if you put something in there, we go ahead and we'll take. So again, we discussed that shoe that grows, and this will also be a choice that underneath the girl selections that they will be able to put. So I'm going to keep going for the sake of time because I feel we discussed that. I had a little heart moment earlier when reading it. Sales report. Oh my gosh. If we could clap for the sales report. So someone has eBuddy access, but the initial order tab won't let them add any numbers. When you're, yes. So what I think is happening, so if you're in the initial order, so anybody online, if you're having this issue too, you have to click that other line. It will populate that little boxes. Remember where we had showed like that boxes where that purple arrow is at the bottom and you put it in right underneath there. I'm doing that good hand gestures and mouse signal, like as if you can see, because I do not have my camera on me. But it's once you click it and it will open up and populate these little boxes, you'll see them. Just look down at the bottom and go ahead and put it in. And don't put it under booth, just go ahead and put it under that other line. So the sales report is where you will know what you owe council, what has come out from DOC payments, what your proceeds are. Everything is in this report. And when we say like locked out, closed out of eBuddy, this is why we don't want you to think you're closed out. You can get right back in eBuddy and look at this sales report. So that way then you know who made payments and so forth. It will tell you how many girls in the end that you had participating in the program and just all of the facts. I would say this is the number one thing that troops don't remember to utilize. So here is an actual where it's at on that blue bar, far right side is sales report. And then when in the sales report, if you do a lot of DOC items, where you'll see this troop here has DOC ship, and they also have DOC in hand, but it might make you scroll really far down to the bottom. And this is showing how on Juliet's where it says troop proceeds, since you don't earn troop proceeds, it will show 0. Oh, I did not mean to click off. But if you were a troop, the troop proceeds would show right there for how much you're owing council and then what goes in for troop proceeds. And so Juliet's, what happens is when you are collecting money, you will be making deposits into the Girl Scout bank account, the Bank of Oklahoma, and Stephanie Sanders, our admin, will be sending out information to you. Your service unit cookie manager will also be in communication with you for support. So you just make deposits into the Girl Scout bank account. Or if the Girl Scout office is closest and easiest for you, you can make your payments into the Girl Scout office. And then as payments are needed, one of our admin, Stephanie, will be reaching out to you just to make sure. And you have to make sure that when you put in a payment that you put your daughter's name on it too. And since it is going to council, we want first and last name to make sure it gets to the right Juliet. So just a note on that. Money collection and handling. I bet you guys can guess one of the words that I'm going to use. Receipt books. But it is money collection. We're just going to go over this real quick, and this is really our ending, is that every troop has to have a troop bank account. We make sure we set that up in the beginning, and that all money belongs to the Girl Scouts of Colorado, and any misuse of the failure to appropriately deposit funds into the troop bank account will result in legal action. It is very unfortunate, but we do have to go after people who steal from the troops. it really breaks our heart. But every year there's usually about one parent that unfortunately misuses the girls' funds and money, and that we will follow up with, and we will turn over to collections and prosecute. We take it very seriously. It's unfortunate that it happens, but this is why we have some of these processes in place. So all money that's collected from the cookie program should be deposited in the Troop bank account within 24 hours. This helps you minimize any sort of issues of your own, of lost husband sneaking a little 20 out of a pile that he didn't know was cookie money so he could go get his lunch, or, you know, daughter grabbing in for some Starbucks cash, not knowing that that's Troop money. So get it into the bank account, keep it away from where the family can be at it. Don't leave large money in sums of cars. I feel like every year there's a car or home invasion, and if we would have just been depositing, it'd be great. Don't accept bills larger than a 20 unless you have one of those bill pins. They are super cheap to go ahead and see the counterfeit money, and just the girls love it. They love to write all over money, right? So allowing or buying a counterfeit money pin is really great idea for at the booth, because once you take over that money, you're responsible for it. Same for checks. So girls could choose to accept credit cards using the DOC mobile app with no fees. Some troops do use Squares. We do not cover their fees for Squares. That is up to the troop to use and for them to set up if it's what they want. We have a free system that we allow you to use that communicates and connects directly with our site. So that's what we provide for you. You can accept checks, but it's your own risk. Money should never, ever, ever, ever be deposited into a personal bank account, ever. There's no reason why it jostles through. So, tell you more about mobile for payment without fees. Our mobile payment is our DOC in hand, our digital order card app that we were discussing a little bit back, that gets sent with that special email for the girls to set up for their site. When they have that digital order card, it is an app that is set up onto their phone, and that phone then, when they go out, you can take payments on that phone at that time that's connected into the girl. And so it's free to go through. It's not as easy as a Square swipe, which is just this one is they have to actually manually enter in the numbers, but it's become less cumbersome than years past. All funds in the troop must be accounted for by our ACH pool on that March 18th, and that if we have to get a fee from the bank, we will then go ahead and give the fee back to the troop. We do want to let you know that if you are going to accept checks, that it's best to get as much information, making sure it's accurate, and driver's license number, and especially if it's for a large sum of money. If you are accepting checks from parents in the troop for payment of cookies, always put the girl's name down on the memo. Sometimes we put the initials of it, or the girl too, just so we know who's paying, right? Who is this check connected to? Because sometimes it's not always very clear, but we caution you in taking checks. It's very rare that troops even take checks anymore and have issues, but we will not help support with those NSF fees. So it falls back on the troop. Caregivers with outstanding balances, you can use the DOC app for booth sales, for in-hand purchases. The DOC, it's a question, sorry, since I keep segueing, it's a question in the chat bar. The DOC app can be used by the parent or caregiver, but then if you are using it as like a TCM underneath your daughters at a booth, be mindful that it's only going underneath your daughter for those sales, so you have to allocate that back out to the troop. And we kind of discussed that earlier with the booth allocation. So just know that if you use the app at a booth or a door-to-door, it goes to whoever is connected with that app at that time. So if only one is being used at a booth, you're going to have to make it fair amongst the girls. So just to be mindful of that. It is important not to give caregivers additional cookies. We discussed this earlier, without monies coming in. If they want to exchange some cookie varieties, they can keep selling. That's understandable, but don't keep handing out cookies without getting money in. Because what ends up happening is you got like an $800 debt at the end. You're like, how did this happen? And they are like, how does this happen? Because I only checked out $200 worth of cookies, and you're slapping out receipts and you're stressing out. We don't want you there. Don't go there. Collect money throughout it. Enter it into eBuddy so it's clear. If there is any issues that come out, make sure that you notify your service unit cookie manager immediately. They're there for support. They have been through this. They will get you through the steps or get you to somebody who's better for it. Document situations, keep emails, and so forth. And again, we have a money problem report to go ahead and put things in there, and then council will be there to support you. Marianne's really going to take a lead this year and with our money problem reports to ensure that anybody submitting those, that we can find solutions. I mean, if it's counterfeit money, we just make sure that your troop's not responsible in the end. So we don't want you to end up with a $20 fee. So. TCM outstanding balances are, so all TCMs, you are financially responsible for the cookies taken in your possession. We discussed this earlier. Failure to pay would mean that we are going to go ahead and follow through and process with you. I know I did discuss that. It's very rare, but I want you to know it's a serious situation and that financial responsibility has been passed over to you. And as you continue to pass it on to the parents, keep accurate receipts so we can support you. That final troop debit does come out on that March 18th. And unfortunately, we do have insufficient funds that come through. We want to make sure that it just doesn't happen. So if you think that there's going to be an issue with the money clearing, you need to be filling out a money problem report so we're aware, and that would probably prompt Marianne to reach out to you and kind of give some support on what we need to do if we need to make it into a 2 payments. Again, that's a very rare situation that happens, but I want you to know that that option is out there. We don't want to hinder girls. We don't want somebody to be paying $400 for cookies because they feel messed up and the troop has it in the end. No, we are here. Communicate with us. We want to support you and we want to find solutions. So just keep that in mind. Oh my gosh, it's the end, you guys. I think I have 3 minutes to spare. So with that being said, thank you. Thank you all for your commitment to Girl Scouting. Thank you for your commitment to the troop, to all the girls in the troop, because they're not all your kid, and I'm sure your sweet little angels, the eyes that were batting at you with the Bambi eyes to do this. We appreciate everything you do. I know Marianne has so many years underneath her belts of experience of Girl Scouts. There's a reason why so many of us are in the organization for 20 plus years and lifetime members. We believe in everything that it does for the girls and what it's going to build out of them, and we couldn't do it without you. And those girls couldn't make it to the butterfly or the toothbrush and bandanas and all the fun little things that they want to earn that give them pride too without everything that you do. I thank you. If for any reason you did not put your troop number or name in the beginning of the chat, go ahead and put it in here, because I know some people joined as we were going through. I want to make sure that we capture that your presence was here. I'll stay on for a few minutes, so if anybody has questions in the chat, and I'll unmute you so we can have good old-fashioned conversations too.
Okay. And anyone that emailed me that wants me to look at your eBuddy, I'll look at these all tomorrow morning, and I will either call you or email you with if you're missing something, if you need a different link, anything like that, so we can get you on the right eBuddy page, okay?
Thank you, Marianne. That is perfect. Muted you all, which could be dangerous.
Since I wasn't online, can I just tell you my name and number? Or so I'm with 61263. I'm Sherry Mudd.
I am real quick. Hold on. Let me pull up a site so I can make sure that I'm actually logging this. All right. So you said 61. Pardon. I'm sorry.
1263.
63. And what is your name?
Sherry Mudd.
All right. Perfect. I will make sure that we log that. Thank you for taking the time to
awesome.
sit on here.
All right. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
I actually have a few questions.
You said one, but okay.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm kidding. I'm so kidding.
What am I? Chopped liver?
Yeah. The question on the
She's
social
like
media.
more of like a home decorator. You're more of like crafts.
I might have to unmute or unmute everybody.
Guys.
Hold on one second. I am going to allow you to unmute so you can ask your questions.
Okay. Am I still muted? No.
No, you're not. Go ahead. I don't want to mute you and then be able to unmute. So ask your question. Let's see if I can hear you.
The social media guidelines. So it's pretty clear as far as Girl Scouts of Colorado, but on Girl Scouts of America, it seems that they've lessened the social media promotions. Do you know what the standards are right now?
You mean for what they're allowed to do online and what you're allowed to post?
Yeah. Yeah.
So ideally, we ask that if it's open to anything outside of friends and family, that it doesn't go on there. This ends up being very vague when it comes to Facebook, and it's more of that on your honor. We have not been able to get any definite writing that says do not on a Facebook site that might have somebody who is in an open group. But what they did say is that they do not want that DOC link ever shared on open social media sites. And I think that is the one thing that is very clear from them. So that we are trusting that if you do have only friends and family on your Facebook site, you're sharing it in that, but you're not going on to the next door neighbor app throwing out your stuff. So, and every is a very blurred line of some people feel next door, those neighborhood sites are their local neighbors. And I'm going to be very serious. I just got rid of my dishwasher and my neighbor above me walked down and said, "Hey, you just posted this. I want it." I couldn't believe it. So it does become our very neighbors, but also it does mean that my husband's part of a few other groups because he wants the best Coach bags for me. So we want to be very mindful, but it's a gray area, but what is definitely defined is security of the girls' information and that site not going out publicly.
Okay. Can I ask a couple more questions?
Oh yeah, I was being sarcastic earlier, but yeah, come on.
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate the sarcasm. Is there a minimum amount that we want caregivers to have checked out at a time, for lack of better description? So if they take cookies and they need more, so like a minimum amount outstanding balance would be, 20 packages of cookies, or is there a minimum threshold that that council says that we should stick by?
No. Ideally, it's going to be that on your honor, what you feel comfortable with. Myself as a leader, once I learned my troop, I knew who my big sellers were. I would never give my little bubbles 100 cookies when I knew she only was really going to sell 50 and that any other sales were going to come from us as a booth. It's really just that on your honor and just in that beginning when they check them out to say, hey, before you check out more, you're going to be bringing back money or exchanging. And we have this, I don't know if Marianne would chime in. I would say around like 100 to 2 at most, but that goes up quickly when you have cookies and people sell. So I think as long as they're communicating, bringing stuff in, you're okay. But as soon as you think there might be an issue or any discrepancy, let your service unit cookie manager know, get us involved. We are your backbone. We got you.
Okay. And then one last question. I noticed this year on the DOC rewards, the 24 packages level, that they are shipped packages as opposed to processed packages. Do any donated items through DOC count, or do they have to be the ship only?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question, because I naturally assume immediately without hesitation that when it is the DOC, that is a shipped item and an online one.
Well, and it's interesting because the rewards say, setting up, and then it's 24 packages shipped, and then the next one is 130 packages through DOC. So that shipped level is interesting to me.
Yes, we added that on to kind of put in that shipped part of it because our council #1 nationally. I guess I should have told everybody that we are like in the top 3 of sales. We're number 2 in sales, but we're number 1. We're number 1 in DOC because our council uses it for in-person, in-hand booth purchases, where a lot of other councils don't. So we want to see and acknowledge those girls who are doing the ship and give a reward at that level. I am going to double check that question because I feel with pretty 99%, if it is a gift of caring donation virtually online, that would count towards the online ship. So that's a great question.
Okay. And that is all I have.
Okay, I'm writing this one down so I don't forget it tomorrow when my cookie brain goes away. And I'm like, what was that amazing question? That stumps me. Really good for you to catch that. And you were here at Girl Scout last year then too. This is your second year is what I'm understanding?
Yes, second year doing cookies with my co-host, and third year my daughter selling.
What age are you a brownie then?
No, she's a junior. She's in her second year as a junior. So she started in her second year as a brownie.
It is my favorite level of juniors. Favorite level. Those girls finally get to start their wings and they have so many opinions. Not that the daisies and brownies didn't, but those juniors finally have opinions that get them to go. And the badges are so easy for them to do at their level. Oh, I hope you enjoy juniors. I really did with my troop, so.
Oh, she's loving it. So my youngest is eager to start next year.
I've got my eye on my niece. So thank you for all that you do. I appreciate it. If you ever need need us, please reach out. We're here for you. I will look into these questions and then we will send it out to everybody. As Marianne has said, maybe what we might do is send out some of these blanket questions to all and encompass it.
Okay. Great. I thank you guys so much.
Thank you. You have a good day. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. If nobody else has any questions, I'm going to go ahead and end this call and say thank you.